was not the best show I ever saw. It was certainly not the worst show I ever saw. There was some stuff on this show that was 5 stars.
Yeah.
There was some stuff on this show that was not good.
Oh, yes.
It was really just a mix of everything, and I can't really give it a grade. If I had to give it a grade, I'd just say thumbs up.
Oh, definitely thumbs up.
It could have been, I've seen worse. But I will also preface that by saying that I saw many Vince Russo restarts that were thumbs up shows.
Sure.
It's not the first show. Anybody can hit a home run on the first show in an invasion. I'm sure WWE hit some home runs early on in the invasion.
Yes, they did.
In fact, the first when
Lance
WCW
Storm.
and ECW teamed up for the first time.
That's right. That episode was good.
That was a thumbs up.
Yeah.
And the irony is that when ECW and WCW teamed up the week after Tacoma fucking killed the invasion dead, we all sat there and thought, I missing time. I've been abducted by a UFO or something.
Yeah, they did a 6-month angle in one show.
18 months.
Yeah.
18 months of angles. Where did they go? And boy, oh boy, this show was missing time. 18 months of angles were missing.
Yes.
Sometime between last night and today, 18 months passed, and I don't know where they went. I don't feel any older. I feel like I've got enough sleep. But somewhere in the span of the last 24 hours, 18 months elapsed. So we may have all been abducted by aliens, taken to another planet and brought back. Because the show opened, and it's like there's a bunch of Raw guys who are all friends now. They're baby faces and heels alike,
yep.
and SmackDown guys.
All hanging out together.
Edge
and Matt Hardy coexisting in peace.
Ready for this big war. There's this Mick Foley's giving this speech about the war tonight. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, when was this war declared? Last night by Paul Heyman on the show in a brief little segment? Where was... we're missing the opening shot. We're missing the early battles.
Yes.
All of a sudden, we're here at World War I, and no Kaisers have been shot. It's just, it happened.
Sure.
And then there's the other group. There's the ECW guys. Men we have not seen in a long time. There's Just Incredible.
No introduction, and I'm sure 90% of the fans in the building had no idea who any of these guys were.
Al Snow is there.
Tony Mamaluke.
I can,
Stevie Richards.
Sure. And I can imagine fans tuning in, and I'm sure there were literally millions of them, going, what's going on? When did this all start? Have I missed a number of shows? So anyway, the opener was... Oh, and I should also note, before we even get into the opener, there were 4 commentators. There was Jerry Lawler and Jim Ross for Raw, and there was Taz and Joey Styles for ECW, and they all were on the air at the same time.
Yes.
Here's the deal. Jerry Lawler and Taz do not like each other. This is legit. Mm-hmm. These men really don't like each other. And they were given the opportunity to bitch at each other for 2 hours. Now, because they don't like each other, there was a lot of real passion here. Mm-hmm. And it was very intriguing at points. However, Jerry Lawler and Taz, are an undercard on the pay-per-view. And despite the 2 hours of bitching back and forth, I don't think they sold a lot of buys off this feud.
Really?
And with that said, it hurt the show because the idea is the announcer's goal is to sell this pay-per-view on Sunday. And instead, it was 2 hours selling an undercard match because Taz and Lawler and Joey Styles would not shut the fuck up. And the reason this was so intriguing at points was Jim Ross... God bless Jim Ross.
He tried tonight.
He was trying so hard to do what an announcer needs to do. And there would be a moment, the best part was in the tag or the match at the end where Foley and Funk and Edge.
It's Edge versus Dreamer, technically.
They're all out there and they're brawling, and Lawler and Taz and Styles are just setting new standards for crying on the air and bitching back and forth.
They were bitching about the Leprechaun. Lawler, we now know for sure, does not watch SmackDown. He had no idea they had a Leprechaun.
Had no idea.
So Styles and Taz were explaining it, and as they were going off, yes, we have a Leprechaun, Lawler.
Screaming and screaming and screaming.
In the background, almost off camera, you hear, Edge could be in trouble with a superplex.
Edge is in trouble on the top rope,
yes.
He said. And Ross throughout the night, he tried to not get involved because if he would have got involved, it would have been even worse. He was actually trying to carry the broadcast, and finally at the end, he's just like, "Guys, can we call a match here?"
Yes.
And Unfortunately, that did not work.
No, it failed. In fact, they
really went off.
About 3/4 of the show, Taz and Lawler got into a pull apart and they went to commercial, and I figured they'd come back and it'd be Styles and Ross at the booth together. No, all 4 guys still out there.
Sure.
Still not feeling any better.
The pull apart was perhaps one of the biggest thumbs down on the whole show. Because, like I said, as far as they were very passionate, and if it had not been 2 hours of bitching, if it had only been about 5-10 minutes, this would have been great. A, it went on too long, and B, they finally went at it. Taz took off his jacket. He looked literally like the Great Pumpkin. He was round. Jerry Lawler, they started throwing these punches back and forth. They kind of brawled over the table, and then Taz tried to double leg him, and Lawler's like, I ain't going down, you fat fucking little butterball, and he did not leave his feet. And here's Taz trying desperately to take down fucking the King. He can't do it. The King falls on top of him, and it's just 2 old men rolling around. And I thought, that's your preview for Sunday.
There have been better fights.
And if you think you're getting anything better on Sunday, kids, I got news for you. You're not. That is what you're going to get. And it's probably going to be about that long. Taz is probably just going to choke him out, and it's going to be all over. Calling this a match is as blatant a false advertising as there's ever been. They are going to have a wacky, bad, horrible confrontation.
The only thing I can say is that because they teased the pull apart earlier, but every time Taz or Lawler stood up, everyone in the front row got really excited. Maybe it's because it was right there in front of them.
Sure.
But I think what part of it more was that people are into this.
Yes.
For whatever reason, whether they know it's real, whether they want to see Taz kick Lawler's ass. I think that's my personal belief. But people were into this feud, and they buy it. And it's because Taz cut that awesome promo on SmackDown, and Lawler cut his very good promo on Raw, and people are into it. And I think you have a point that they're overshadowing a lot of what's going on. I don't have a problem with that because the Edge and Tommy Dreamer match, as a match, was bad.
Yeah.
It was a definite thumbs down match, and it was saved by the commentary war.
That, however, is a far bigger money match. They can
think so?
They can. Oh, than Taz and Lawler?
Well, okay, yeah.
2 announcers? I assure you. Yeah. I assure you. And yeah, I guess the rest of the show.
I think part of it too is they're marketing the ECW product. They're marketing to the people who will mark out for announcers fighting each other when they really don't like each other, or more importantly, they will mark out for a match between 2 announcers who are exchanging shoot comments, quote unquote.
Yeah, but here's the problem that I have with it. It's like everything else with this invasion. You were there at the Tacoma Dome.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody has any idea what Taz and Lawler are bitching about, except that they're mad at each other. And just knowing that Taz and Lawler are mad at each other is not enough to sell pay-per-views. And I realize this is not the be-all and end-all, but Tony was PMing me throughout the show because he was sort of watching it during the deal, and he was like, I think I just saw an angle with 2 announcers. I was like, yes, in fact you did.
There you go.
He goes, this is so stupid. There's just your average fan who does not understand why for 2 hours he's been listening to these announcers bitch, and they finally have a bad fight. And, sure, if you want to sell a pay-per-view to the ECW audience, you'll get the
ECW buy rate.
Yes, the ECW buy rate. That's not the deal.
They went out of business.
You need to sell this to the casual fan who don't give a shit about Taz and Jerry Lawler. They give a shit about the stars, Mick Foley, Edge, John Cena, and maybe an ECW guy or 2, but doubtful. So, Ray faced RVD in the opener. RVD won, as you're all well aware. By far the best part of this match was RVD puts a chair on Ray Jr.'s chest. He goes up top to do the frog splash, and as he's in midair, Ray's like, fuck this. Throws the chair out of the way, and RVD just gives him a regular frog splash and pins him. And I thought, that was the right thing to do, young man.
Wise man.
You were a wise man.
And the announcers totally no-sold it.
Sure. Even on the replay, they made sure to get an angle where he couldn't see it.
Yes.
Because Ray was smart. It would have been absolutely idiotic to take that. And, you can say, well, they pinned the champion. They should have pinned him with a frog splash into a chair. No. He's lost to everyone.
Yes.
He's lost to Mark Henry, clean. He's lost to
Kali. He's lost. He's losing more. He's lost to Angle by count out and got saved by Mark Henry. He was fighting Kurt Angle. And the deal with Ray is
perhaps there's more to come.
You may say that. The deal with Ray is He loses every match when the title's not on the line. His title was not on the line here, therefore he lost. That's his gimmick.
Yeah. Someone did make a good point, and they were like, Ray is the hero of the children. And children, unlike adults, never lose hope.
That's right.
That is true, but on the other hand, children ain't got no money. They're not buying any pay-per-views. So there is that argument there, but the match was fine. I expected it to be worse.
Yeah, I would say it was good.
Sure. Angle came out and did a big promo, talked about Orton. This was another deal where clearly they're counting on this to carry the pay-per-view. Mm-hmm. Angle did a fantastic job. Orton did so much better. He actually showed charisma, unlike on Monday. This was not your usual boring Randy Orton promo. Wasn't out of this world, but
it did go way too long.
The two of them worked very well together as far as talking trash and hyping up the pay-per-view on Monday. So I have to give that segment a thumbs up.
They made it seem like two guys who want to kick each other's ass.
Yes.
There's his step one, and once you get through that, everything's going to be okay.
Mickie James faced Jazz. It was a match. I couldn't believe Jazz was back. She's looking very well. Mickie James beat her with a tornado DDT or something.
Jazz hit her with everything, and then Mickie cut her off and hit a DDT and pinned her at the end.
Yes. It doesn't matter. That's
really
the whole point of this. Then we had an interview by Cena, and I did not transcribe all of this because I was sort of just listening. This was a 5-star promo.
Oh, God, this is awesome.
This was one of the best promos in John Cena's life that he cut. And God knows his pay-per-view needed it.
Yeah.
This was an amazingly great promo. So I got to give a thumbs up to that.
It was a definite thumbs up promo. He talked about how he didn't want to be the guy to lose the WWE title at the ECW, and if he loses, it's a stain on Sammartino and Hogan and Austin, and it's all on his shoulders.
Yeah.
So that's what he's fighting for.
Very good.
Oh, he's the man.
Lillian introduced Paul Heyman. She's alive. Got a wrist brace
Thank
on,
God,
that sort of thing. And, she's not very popular in the back.
I've heard that.
Yeah, a lot of people when she flew off the apron were laughing about it, and I thought, God, just dicks on our board, seeing Lillian get injured, and they're cackling about it. Then I heard that they were not the only ones cackling. I was like, wow. Suffice to say, there's no heat on Mr. Charlie Haas.
Really?
Strange as that is.
That does seem odd.
Well, that's some people just...
What are you going to do?
Yeah. Paul Heyman came out and did the whole...
He did something very, very unique. He ran down the pay-per-view card.
Yeah.
He said, these are the matches you're going to see when you pay money on Sunday.
It's about damn time.
It's a lost art.
Unfortunately, he still only named about 4 or 5 matches.
I think he did 5.
We're still missing 4. So apparently he has not been a shop zone lately.
That's right.
They had the WWE versus ECW Battle Royal. Sucked like any other Battle Royal. Just crap.
Went through 2 breaks.
Guys fell down.
I'm not sure, but I think they did it so that all the WWE guys got their own entrance, and then the ECW guys came out en masse.
Yes.
So they're still just anonymous ugly men.
Yes. So the whole gimmick was it came down to Kurt Angle, who's ECW, Orton and the Big Show, who are Raw, and fucking Finlay, who is SmackDown. By the way, I demand.
I would know exactly what you're going to say.
Kurt Angle and
versus Fit Finlay immediately, somehow.
If not sooner.
I don't care what show, I don't care what brand, I don't care pay-per-view, I don't care free TV. These men must fight.
They must fight very quickly. They ended up the final 4 guys in the ring. Angle tossed Finlay, which made me very, very sad. And then we had Orton.
Orton jumped Angle and dumped him.
No. He jumped. That's right.
Edge was in there somewhere.
Edge was the one that took the overhead belly to belly to the floor. Oh. That was terrifying. But anyway, it came down to Orton and Big Show winning for Raw. And then suddenly Big Show ripped off his shirt to reveal an ECW shirt, and he tossed Randy Orton, so ECW won. So they won through a fuck finish, basically.
Yeah.
So it doesn't really count as a win.
And it's a WWE guy wearing an ECW shirt.
Yes.
And that's how everyone sees it.
Well, you know what I saw it? I saw this as the Giant joining the NWO.
Well, that's exactly what it was. You know what? That's exactly what it was, come to think of it.
That's all.
A black shirt with white letters. It's the same man.
Yep.
There's no reason for it.
Edge faced Dreamer in a hardcore match, which sucked.
It sucked bad. There was almost a fatality in here where...
There were actually several near fatalities this evening, if you really go back. I know earlier, I don't even remember what it was Mickey doing Jazz doing a Luthez press off the apron and nearly killing Mickey.
Splat.
And then RVD doing the flip leg drop and crushing Ray's head.
Yes.
The leg drop, or the moonsault.
It was the moonsault. The press slam and then the moonsault, yes.
I was
knee
like,
right to the face.
If nobody dies on the show, we're lucky tonight.
But the scariest one of all, in my opinion, was Tommy Dreamer trying to backdrop Edge off the top rope through a table, and the table was about 8 feet too far away. And Edge tried to reach out, and that was a mistake because he almost came straight down on his surgically repaired neck.
He landed really on his neck, and Craig's one of those guys who, he knows I don't watch the shows live, but he still has to call me to ask about him. And he didn't spoil anything, but he goes, "Is Edge alive? That's all I want to know." And I thought, shit.
I don't know.
I think I would have heard by now if he were dead, so he's probably okay. But that was very, very scary. And this was, you know what this was? This was one of those deals from TNA that drives me nuts. You had 2 guys in the ring doing a bunch of shit, and then you had 2 other guys outside doing a bunch of shit.
Yes.
And you were supposed to know all that was going on at the same time.
And the girl.
And the girl, that's right. So, anyway, at the end of the match, all of a sudden really, during the match, you could just hear Foley grunting outside. And you're like, what's happening? Is he humping Funk? Is there a brawl? What's happening out there? And you finally, when the match is over, you see they're strangling each other with barbed wire or some such bullshit. And it was lame. What saved it was afterwards. By the way, Edge won when Lita sat on Tommy Dreamer's face.
If any of you needed to guess, Tommy Dreamer was in fact pinned in this match.
Yes, by a girl.
Which it wouldn't. Nothing else would be appropriate for him.
No. So they went to commercial. They came back, and Foley was in the ring. Lights were down. He had a spotlight shining on him, and he cut a very good promo. I don't know if I could call it a great promo.
I know. This is more what we've been talking about, where if you write down what he says, didn't necessarily make a lot of sense. But goddamn, he was passionate about it.
He was very passionate about it. Everything he said, I actually thought most of it did sort of make sense, but I can't remember a goddamn thing he said, so it couldn't have made that much sense. But the point was, when it was over, I had no more desire to see the pay-per-view Sunday than I did going in. And I think part of that was because the preview sucked so bad.
The match we just saw was...
the best part actually was afterwards. First off, Terry Funk was punching Mick Foley as hard as he could in the face.
Yes.
And Foley has mentioned that before. His comment is, the reason his punches look so good is because he really hits you as hard as he can.
Yeah, he tells a great story, in I believe it's his first book, where he says he was so excited to work Terry Funk and find out the secret to the great Funk punches. And the secret is he just punches you really fucking hard.
He punched Mick Foley very hard. Foley was bleeding hard way.
I'm sure that was the intent.
Edge
he'll have a nasty black eye.
Edge, and he already did as he was doing his promo. Edge was cradling his neck, and they just had this look on their face after the match of, sweet Jesus, we got to wrestle these fuckers again on Sunday. We're going to be killed. And God knows that's going to be a train wreck on Sunday. That will be a train wreck.
Yes.
And
hopefully they'll keep it short.
They won't.
Yeah.
Speaking of train wrecks, we got one. Sabu and John Cena. I will say I expected worse.
I expected much worse.
I expected far, far worse. It was a deal where Cena did a WWE-style match with him early. Then Sabu cut him off, threw chairs at him, jumped on his face, fell off the ropes onto him. Just John Cena, I'm sure, was backstage going, God, I can't wait till Sunday's over. I got to get out of this fucking place. Getting beaten on. It could have been far worse. This was where the announcers really just... actually, it was a previous match. They'd sort of calmed down at this point. They were just out there calling the action. But, yeah, could have been much, much worse. Cena put him in the... This was the best part of the show, by the way. Cena hit the FU, put him in the STFU, and then the ECW guys hit the ring for the disqualification.
Oh, yes.
In the ECW
the main event
match.
of the Extreme Rules match.
That was fucking great. I was like, there you go, kids. You've just seen history, the first ever DQ in ECW.
Yeah.
Probably isn't, but goddamn, that was stupid.
I remember once, it was not ECW, I remember once seeing a count out in a lumberjack match.
Yes.
That was a good times.
Well, WCW used to do that. You just brawl out of the ring and disappear, and that would be the end. So.
I remember ICW.
That's right.
I was a lumberjack. And at one point, one of the guys just walked to the back. All right.
That's the end of the match.
Bye.
That was the end of the match here. So
yeah, this was as bad a finish, but a better match.
And you know, on paper, it was a Nitro idea. We've seen it on Nitro a million times. The bad guys hit the ring. The good guys make the save. Everyone fights. Show ends. We did not, however, have Tony Schiavone screaming that it was the biggest night in the history of our sport, and Sunday would be even bigger. And
That's good.
We really sort of actually needed it here. Because instead the show just went off the air and it was like, bye.
Yeah, there was a period at the end of the sentence missing. But the biggest thing to me was this was not just Raw on Wednesday. This show from beginning to end felt different, and
it did, and I think that's why the crowd was into it.
Yeah, and they actually had the ECW stage off to the side. Presumably, I guess is what they're going to do for SmackDown. Hide it behind a curtain during SmackDown itself and reveal it, and try to avoid shooting the SmackDown stage at all. But the show had two purposes. One was to sell the pay-per-view on Sunday, and the other was to sell ECW Tuesday nights on Sci-Fi Network. And there were many commercials for that, and I think in the sense of
it succeeded in making you want to watch the TV show for at least once.
Yeah, because again, it's not just Raw on Tuesdays, but so yeah, in that sense, it was a success. As far as selling the pay-per-view, yeah, I guess
it sold the pay-per-view in that.
It reminded you the pay-per-view was this Sunday for sure.
It reminded you the pay-per-view was Sunday, and it told you if you like what you see tonight, you can get 3 hours of it for $40 on Sunday. I don't think it did a very good job making you want to see the matches. I mean, the whole idea of the pay-per-view Sunday is the WWE guys are going to be defending their titles against the ECW guys, and the ECW guys could take the belts home. You had a good Cena promo, but really, I mean, the main event angle, you didn't even sort of get the idea that Cena could lose, and that's sort of what you need. You sort of got the idea that RVD could win because he beat Rey Mysterio, but at the same time, everyone beats Rey Mysterio. So you didn't get, I mean, normally when WWE's building up a pay-per-view, when the last show before the pay-per-view is over, you've got the two guys in the main event brawling,
We'll
fighting.
Ignore 2006 for this year.
Yeah.
For this discussion.
Instead, this was just like all the ECW guys and all the WWE guys, so the idea was, if you want to see more, pay $40.
The cameraman was zooming in, trying to focus on Rob Van Dam and Cena fighting.
Yeah.
To his credit.
If I had to predict a buy rate, I think last year's show did 280 or 320 or somewhere in that neighborhood. This ain't doing that.
Oh, hell no.
I would predict 250, maybe 270 would be my guess. I don't think it's going to dip as low. Like the show with God did like 125 domestic, so 180 or 170 worldwide. I think this has got more interest than that one. In fact, I'm certain of it.
Has to.
But how much more interest? Certainly not at the level of last year.
No, hell no.
And the show was, I mean, it got you excited for ECW, but I don't know if it got you excited enough to pay $40 for more of it. I think it got you excited enough to try out the show next Tuesday.
Yeah, I think right now I'm far more curious, definitely more curious about the show than the pay-per-view, but I'm probably more excited for ECW on Tuesday than One Night Stand on Sunday.
Yes, so in that sense, the show failed in selling the pay-per-view, I think, to a degree, but I think now the key is they need to push the TV show and the pay-per-view as hard as they can on SmackDown.
Yeah.
And also on Raw, because this was I gave the show a thumbs up, but I'll bet it does a 1.9.
Oh, the rating for this show?
Yeah. Yesterday, Monday, looking back, it didn't really hit me until I was really writing the review last night. Really hit me, what a phenomenally bad job of promotion they did for this show last night.
No,
just a fantastically bad job. And
whatever their minimum audience is, whatever the lowest audience they get for their shows, that's who watched this show. It was pretty much people who watch Velocity Saturday nights. I mean,
no, more than that.
Well, no one's gonna.
That would have been a 0.5.
No one's gonna rush home from work, make sure I gotta get home in time to watch the ECW show because it's at 9, so that's not.
It's
really
not even that. It's I don't think people knew.
Yeah.
And I don't think, all they knew was a battle royal. I mean, they didn't even announce the matches with the fucking world champions in them. They didn't even mention it. This was a WWE.
Are you sure they didn't do Cena Sabu?
I'm almost positive. The only thing I remember was that stupid, and I could be wrong, but hey, if I'm wrong, I don't remember. And this is my job.
Yes.
I've had people emailing me going, what time's the special? No clue.
We had no idea. We didn't know exactly what time it was. We didn't know how long it was.
No, none of that. And the only reason I knew is from WWE.com, and they don't understand that nobody
goes to their stupid little website.
You want to know
go to ours.
You want to know the people that go to that website every day? Keith Lipinski. That's really the only person I know of for sure, because he does it for his Dr. Keith. And I don't go there every day.
Yeah.
Maybe a couple people on our website do, but stuff gets around. But hey, if you think you're selling a pay-per-view, and if you think you're doing a 1.9 rating on Tuesday nights for the TV show based on the geeks that go to WWE.com every day,
good luck.
You got another thing coming. You'll be doing TNA numbers. We watched this show late at night on Tuesday at 10 o'clock p.m. Pacific time, which was 1 o'clock. All you fuckers had already seen the show, and huge threads. I got phone calls. Men called me and said, don't watch the show tonight, it sucks. I got emails. I noticed a 84-page thread on the board. And the show started. Out came the zombie. Vince has never laughed like this in his life.
No, I could not maintain sitting up on the couch. I had to retire to the floor so I could properly roll back and forth and slap the ground.
You were on the floor.
Well, let's start. He came out. First of all, there was scary music, and the zombie came out. And for those of you who did not see the zombie, he didn't do that yet.
Yeah, we thought it was awesome up to there.
Yeah. He came out. He was dressed like a zombie in tattered clothes, covered in dirt. Shoot dirt, actual soil, not like dust, dirt. And he had kind of a mullet and a flannel and jeans, and he held his arms straight out in front of him and walked without bending his knees, and scary music was playing, and they introduced him as the zombie, and I was already chuckling. And he climbed into the ring, and he advanced toward the announcer, and he grabbed the microphone, and I said, "Oh, great, he's going to cut an undead promo." And then he said... That's where I lost it. That's where I could take no more.
That was the greatest thing ever.
I was... And I've thought about this long and hard over the past couple of days because
that distresses me.
Oh, no, I can't stop thinking about the zombie. Two details here. One, I think, would have made it even funnier, and the other, I'm not sure. First of all, he should not have been the zombie. He should have been a zombie. One of millions of undead... a horde ready to advance and take over ECW. There should be an unlimited number of zombies running around.
I cannot believe how hard you've thought about this.
He should have been a zombie. And two, and this I'm iffy on, I may be mistaken here, but this zombie, as we would learn, he was very loquacious. He was very verbose. He said, "Ugh," about 17 times. And that was part of the humor, was that he would not shut up. He just kept moaning. But then I kind of think it would have been funnier if he had taken the microphone and gone, "Ugh."
He did a much better job than you.
And then just calmly handed the microphone back, and he just had that one thing to say. Regardless, this was beautiful. This was my favorite segment of the entire year, and I think I said to Tony it was the greatest moment of my life.
So Sandman came out and just beat the living hell out of the zombie.
I was totally down with that.
I was afraid for him, because he was really getting them pretty good with this.
He was killed. There was one shot in particular where he hit the zombie right in the face, and I thought...
he actually checked his face after he did it.
Oh, yeah, and he was holding his face the rest of the night. So the zombie got fucked up by the Sandman.
Sucks to be the zombie.
The zombie and the Sandman.
Well, has the Sandman fucked up a lot of people?
Oh, God, yes.
Yes.
Okay. That's what I figured.
He's also been fucked up several times, to be fair.
Sure. By the way, Nails, I think I fixed the feedback issue, but we're on with the show. So anyway, yeah, they had the deal with the zombie, and I thought that was fine. Okay, I have no problem with this. So then the next match was Kurt Angle destroying Justin Credible. Just killing the fuck out of this poor guy.
That headbutt.
Oh, my God, yeah.
Credible got a comeback. And when I say a comeback, I mean he hit one move of some kind. And he started getting up in Kurt's face, and so Kurt just hauled back and nailed him in the bridge of the nose with his forehead, and it was...
Yes,
this thing of beauty.
This was a beautiful match, and there were complaints that Credible was a former ECW champion. I gave the whole spiel in the newsletter. It don't matter. Justin Credible is drawing no money these days, and maybe it would have been best if they had not mentioned he was a former ECW champion. But this is a new ECW, and Justin Credible,
he's a dork.
He got about what he should have gotten here.
No,
I mean, he's been off TV forever. This was not a major deal. It was fine.
Everyone watching this, well, actually a lot of people watch it that may not be accurate, but a lot of people watching it said, "Hey, it's the guy who used to team with X-Pac."
Yes. So this was fine. And again, I was thinking, there's nothing wrong with this show so far. I mean, there are little things here and there, but... You can argue about the size of the building and everything like that, but, I'm looking at the writing, that sort of thing. So.
You did skip the opener, which was just a Raw angle on ECW.
That's right. I'd pretty much forgotten that, but that's...
Yeah. I don't have a problem...
It's not ECW. That's the key everybody has to understand, and in order to get this show off the ground, you need John Cena and Edge... And you need Raw stars, or this fucking show ain't gonna fly.
Yeah.
This will be Impact. So
this will be Sub-Velocity.
No, I think it'd still be Impact because there'd at least be names on there, and they're promoting it. They didn't.
They are promoting it. No one knew about Velocity. That's true.
But this is what they need. They got a 2-8 because Raw was all about which Raw guys are going to show up on ECW.
Yes.
They didn't get a 2-8 just because this was fucking ECW Reborn.
No one.
This was because they promoted the hell out of it and said Cena and Edge and some Raw guys were going to be there. It was a combination of factors, and they needed that. So I had no problem with that opening angle. And by the way, for those of you that read my thread on the board as I was doing live play-by-play sort of, that was as legit as it gets. I was initially so excited, and I was so happy for the zombie and everything like that, and then the show fell off a cliff.
It did.
First, they had the woman who may be even more boring than Michelle McCool, if that's even possible, come out and attempt to strip and fail.
Fail miserably.
That was the saddest thing I have seen in a while. Why don't they just get a stripper to strip?
Yeah, they could not find they had to get a worked stripper.
Yes, they got a work stripper who couldn't take her own bra off.
She had clearly never stripped or perhaps even danced before.
No. So,
she was hot, but
that's exactly what I was going to say. She was hot, but you know what? The show's an hour long.
There's a million hot chicks out there.
And so that was I give that a thumbs down. I'm afraid to say. Well, thumbs in the middle because she was hot.
There's worse things I could watch. I just have no idea what the point was.
It's so non-extreme.
Oh, it was very non-extreme.
She couldn't get her bra off, and that was a little distressing.
Nails, you didn't watch a lot of ECW back in the day, but the idea was it was extreme. Was there anything extreme about this stripping routine?
No. Wrong channel. Probably needs to be on pay-per-view for adults.
Yeah, and even the pay-per-view, you'd have seen the exact same damn thing. So, anyway, then we had this Battle Royal. It was a gimmick Battle Royal. Weapons were allowed. There was just shit all over the outside of the ring. And since it was a Battle Royal, you could go between the middle rope or the bottom rope and go outside and get stuff. And then everybody kept bringing it back into the ring and hitting each other with it, and if you went over the top, you lost. And I thought, why don't you just go out there and get a gimmick in a garbage can or something and just stay out there till no one's left? Nobody was getting counted out. Nope. It was like, you fucking stupid bastards are going out there, getting shit, and then getting back in the ring just so you can get thrown over the top. They were hitting each other with just these extreme pie pans and shit like that. This was the worst. The worst. It was so bad. This more than anything else, just I just turned on the show at this point. I couldn't handle it.
I did not hate it as much as you did.
I hated it.
But that's about the best I could say. It wasn't a further example of them. ECW basically at this point has 4 stars, and they are Big Show, Kurt Angle, RVD, and Sabu. And I understand that Stevie Richards and Tony Mamaluke are not going to be the big stars, but when you don't even give them an entrance, you may as well have fans in the ring. You're telling people do not care about these men.
Yes, this was an all thumbs down segment. They put over Big Show as a monster, but of course
Big Show eliminated everyone except Sabu.
He got eliminated by the other monster. I can't even believe this man has a job. Big Guido, whatever. He's been under contract for months and months now. He's finally on TV, and wow, he is horrible. But
he's just a big, ugly man.
He is a big, ugly man. So Sabu won, so it's Sabu and John Cena at the pay-per-view again.
Oh, by the way, yeah, there was, after the opening Raw angle, Heyman was angry and he gave a speech, and he talked about invading Raw again, which all I could think was, haven't we seen that for a month now?
Yeah.
And number 2, the winner of this Battle Royal would challenge Cena at Vengeance. So Paul Heyman, ECW GM, I guess, is now making matches for the Raw pay-per-views.
Yeah.
I got a quick, stupid question.
Probably
sure.
Not stupid.
More of a history question.
All right.
But back in the day when I was sleeping on the couch.
Sure.
And Hall and Nash, what was their original characters? Ramon and...
Ramon and Diesel.
They both left WWF.
Yes.
And went to WCW, and they created an invasion angle.
Yeah.
And are we trying to recreate this about 6 different ways in the last 6 years?
Well,
is that what I keep seeing and hearing you guys talk about?
The answer to the question is definitely yes.
Because they're never going to recapture that, because then everybody, even some people, seem to think that it was legitimate.
Yes. Here's the deal. WCW went out of business because they did a lot of stupid things, but one thing they did right, at least early on, was an invasion angle. They had these guys supposedly from another company come in. They were from another company. They just couldn't use the name. They came in. They ran roughshod over everybody.
They were somewhat nameless for a while, correct?
They didn't have names. That's right, for a long time.
They were just the big guy and the medium-sized guy.
They eventually got names, that sort of thing. But the point is, it worked. And the downfall was, WCW never actually won in the
war.
end.
Yes.
They just kept losing forever until they went out of business. But the point is, WCW at least did this right. Vince McMahon has never done this right.
And he's tried several times.
And
I'm just wondering, they did it once. I mean, how many times is everybody going to fall for it? Well, not really fall for it, but how many times is it acceptable? I guess.
Well, the answer to the question is, when something works in wrestling, it gets repeated for 50 years, whether it ever works again or not.
We're going to beat it to death.
Yeah.
Yes.
If you followed wrestling, there's still Montreal. Shawn Michaels or Vince McMahon screwed Bret Hart in Montreal, and we've been hearing about it now for almost 10 years.
Almost a decade.
And coincidentally,
a third of my life.
A year and a half in advance, they made sure to book the 10th anniversary of that Survivor Series in Montreal, because they'll never fucking forget it. It'll just go on forever. So that's the answer to your question, dude.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. So, by the way, what did you think of the first ECW show?
The first one we're just talking about?
That's right.
It was. I thought it was great up until because I liked watching Angle squash that guy.
That was beautiful.
Up until the Royal Rumble, I thought it just sucked.
I thought
or whatever it's called.
I had to give the show as a whole a thumbs up just because of the zombie. And,
well, yes.
I mean, I seriously, I was driving home and I was laughing so hard I had to pull over and get it out of my system. But awesome.
Laughable. Whose idea was this?
Okay.
I like how Joey Styles adds laughable.
Yes. Okay. Number one, I'll never be able to hear the Cranberries again. Not thinking about the zombie. But getting off track of the zombie for a while.
You won't be able to.
No, you are. Yeah. I don't really want to. I'm trying to be sort of somewhat professional, but a lot of the people who did not like the show, and that was most people, their big complaint was it wasn't the old ECW. And we've talked about how that's not important and it's not going to be and it shouldn't be. But there are two complaints I saw that just stuck out with me, and I don't really know why. One of them was someone said that every ECW show should start with Joey Styles in the middle of the ring. And I thought, dude, in 2006, no one gives an F. No one turned the channel because Joey Styles is not in the middle of the ring, so that didn't matter. Number two, and this actually amused me much more, people who are saying that they need to get out of the SmackDown arenas and into the smaller buildings because ECW just looks wrong with this many fans. ECW should not be this successful, damn it. It should be small and hanging on by a thread.
Yes.
Wait a second, didn't they die?
They did, in fact, die.
Well, Scott Williams made that point. He wrote the book about the death of ECW, the hardcore history, and he pretty much said if they try and run it like the old ECW, that one died.
Yes.
It was not a success in any way. So it was an artistic success, is what it was. It was something that a lot of people
You mean
liked.
the original run?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that made no money and went out of
Yes.
business. It was a starving artist.
Which a lot of artists
Sure.
have been like that.
And now the idea is this is not supposed to lose money. This is supposed to make a lot of money for the company, and thus things are going to be very, very just kids. All you got to do is pretend it's called OVW.
VCW.
VCW.
Vince Championship Wrestling.
Vince Championship Wrestling or something like that.
Which
So,
would make zillions, by the way.
anyway, I'll watch again next week because I have to. After the zombie, I think I just watch the damn show again anyway.
I'm going to watch it. If I was going to the SmackDown show next week, I would bring a zombie sign.
Oh, you'll see them.
Oh.
You don't know how
I may
over
dress up like the zombie.
the zombie has gotten over to an incredible degree. It's all over YouTube. This is spreading.
And by the way, I don't want the zombie to do anything different. I want him to come out, make his entrance. Yes, he may eventually learn the word brains. I'd accept that. But I want him to come out to his music, cut his promo, and then an ECW guy will come out and kill him. It can even be the Sandman every week. I'm fine with
Just
that.
a different... it'd be fine, actually.
Sandman or Balls or whatever. I don't care. I just want the zombie.
Sure.
I'll watch for that.
All right, what else?
MacGyver something up.
Where the hell are we? ECW. We watched the ECW show, and I actually don't have notes here because I keep forgetting that I review ECW for the last newsletter. So we're just going to have to wing it. We're going to have to go off the top of our head here.
It was a good show, except it needed a zombie. There's no zombie this week.
I can always count on you for in-depth analysis of important events.
The lack of a zombie was very important.
What does it mean when all of a sudden I just don't accept answers like that from you? I actually want, you to explain the good and the bad of the show.
Okay, the good. Well, okay.
How about I do it for you and you can follow along?
All right.
Since somehow you're still more useless than I am. That takes a tremendous amount of talent at this hour.
You're welcome.
The show was so much better than the first week. And that's really not saying a whole hell of a lot, because the first week blew. There's a little bit of comedy with the zombie and that sort of thing. I was somewhat sad that we didn't see the zombie, but let's be real. This was a much better show. And we got Macho Libre.
We got Macho
You
Libre.
should have been happy about that.
Nah. I wanted the zombie. The Macho Libre was not even close to as funny as the zombie. Nothing in my life will ever be as close to as funny as the zombie.
You know what, Vince?
I will agree that top to bottom, outside of that segment, the other 55 minutes of this show blew that show away.
Let me explain something about the zombie. The zombie came on TV and you laughed like an idiot. Folks worldwide laughed on the internet, that sort of thing. But the WWE didn't realize what they had in the zombie.
Mm-hmm.
They did not realize what a cult figure he had become. Some people did, like Joey Styles when he wrote the MVP, that sort of thing. But nobody really understood what they had with the zombie. And I think you have to look at the way WWE operates. I think that you should just be happy with the memory you have of the zombie, because I really think the zombie would wear out his welcome fast.
Well,
the gag would run its course. I know you've got a big, complicated zombie army plan, but it ain't going to happen like that.
I will just say this. I see where you're going, and you may have a point that over time it would get old and it would wear out its welcome. But I watched the Sandman zombie thing again today, and I didn't laugh as hard, but I was laughing out loud again.
Yes, you were.
10 days later.
But you wouldn't be watching the same thing. The zombie would come out, and they wouldn't let him cut a promo this time.
That's right.
And then you'd have to do chain wrestling. You'd have a chain wrestling zombie or something just ridiculously stupid, and your beautiful memory of the zombie would be soiled forever.
See, that's why I think they should have just played the first episode every week for a year. Shown it for all 13 weeks of the contract. That would have been awesome.
It was a better show, kids. The important points of the show were they had way more wrestling this week than last week.
Yes, they did.
And also, I think that part of it was there was more wrestling on the 1 hour of ECW than there was on the 2 hours of Raw. Probably by double, in fact. The main event was a good match, spoiled by an injury to Randy Orton. Randy Orton popped his shoulder out of the socket and was unable to, I guess, work up to his normal level, and it took away from the match. He tried. God knows that fucker tried.
He popped his arm back in like a man.
He even still was there to catch Rob Van Dam, of all people. I wouldn't catch Rob Van Dam with two arms, much less with one arm. And he did it, nearly died. The dude almost fell on his leg and broke it. It was a total train wreck, but he deserves all the credit in the world for getting out there and just not bitching about it.
If you think about it, ever since word of his suspension came out, he had the two awesome matches, took his break, and he came back, and he's just been awesome since he came back.
He's a new man.
Yes.
He's still a little wooden in his promos. I don't want to go off on a tangent here, but I mentioned the bitching thing, and I'm not a big fan of bitching.
It's ironic, no?
Like I said, I don't want to go into a rant tonight, perhaps on another day, but I'd prefer just a lot less bitching, because there's plenty of things in this world to bitch about, and there's been some bitching lately. Go out in the goddamn sun or something like that. It's summertime.
That's right. It was a beautiful day in Seattle.
And I was very proud of Orton. He didn't bitch. He just gutted through it. And sure, it's probably a little bit stupid and everything like that. But, you know, he still deserves credit for it. He has the mentality that the show must go on, and he tried.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't do anything life-threatening or anything stupid like that. He tried to keep giving he tried to hold up his end of the bargain. So all the power in the world, all the whatever you want to say for Randy Orton. The other big deal, sort of controversial, guess depending on who you are, the house lights going out. Had a big argument, not exactly an argument, a disagreement of sorts with Dave about this subject. He hated the lights out. I thought it made the show look dingy. A lot of people said, oh, it's supposed to look dingy. It's ECW. Other people pointed out, yes, the dingy ECW went broke and died.
Yes.
To me, this is why I didn't have a problem with it. First off, it needs a different look. It needs something different from Raw or SmackDown. Second, and this is the biggest point of all, when the show started, the lights were on, and you saw thousands of people in the building. And when the guys came down to the ring, the lights were on, and you saw thousands of people in the building. And then when the match started, the lights dimmed, the spotlight shone on the men, they had their match, and when it was over, the lights came back on, you saw thousands of fans, and, you know, unless you just happen to tune in, I mean, okay, if you're a fan that tunes in, sees the lights out, and tunes out forever, well, you probably weren't going to stick around that long anyway.
Exactly.
If you watch the whole show, you see the lights on and everything like that, you see the lights, I didn't have a problem with it. Perhaps down the road I might, but this week I was fine with it. I liked the different look.
It definitely it needed a different look, and the lighting helped a lot, and I didn't think it looked dingy. I thought it just looked different. I mean, it's still a super bright light on the ring. I mean, I've seen dingy-looking lights, and it's when there's one light, and it's not even from the top, it's from the side. That's dingy lighting. This is major league lighting, just with a different feel. I suspect if people are getting excited about the argument you and Dave had, it's simply because you and Dave rarely have disagreements over anything. So this is your annual disagreement. I believe the last disagreement you two had was who is worse, Snitsky or Heidenreich.
That was
and you won in the long run by a far.
I did win that argument, but that's another story entirely. But yeah, that was the ECW show. Got to give it a thumbs up this week. It's a work in progress. It is not the old ECW. We've mentioned that 1,000 times. Don't need to beat a dead horse. We were just talking about how you told me earlier tonight you had watched ECW.
Yes, I did.
It's absurd. What's wrong with you?
I have to.
You're in love with Kelly, aren't you?
What's that?
You're in love with Kelly, aren't you?
Kelly.
The blonde.
Kelly. I don't know who that is.
Clearly, I am wrong. He's not in love with Kelly. My bad.
I'm in love with the comedy segment with Sandman.
Hold on a second. Did you watch the whole show?
I actually did watch the whole show this time.
Okay, you watched the whole show and you have no idea who we're talking about when we say Kelly.
I assume you're probably talking about that horrible stripper.
That is, in fact, who we're talking about. The only girl on the show.
I
that
thought
would
he was
be
going to
Kelly.
stop at that first syllable.
I know she's good looking, but
No,
they got a model and didn't ask her. You know, they obviously didn't say, "Hey, why don't we try these girls out and see if one of them can actually do a stripper routine?"
Yeah,
and apparently they didn't even think about it. They said, "Wow, look at the tits on her. Let's hire her."
That is probably exactly the thing that John Laurinaitis said. Look at the tits on her. You know, let me explain how WWE works. This is typical. Instead of actually finding a stripper, and literally they are a dime a dozen. I think in some areas of this country,
that may be true.
For 10 cents you can get 12 strippers. And instead of just finding a hot stripper to strip on ECW, they had to find a hot model and try and teach her how to strip. It's like the old, we don't need wrestlers, we need people that look like wrestlers, and then we'll teach them how to wrestle.
Yeah, they've done that forever, and they said we don't need wrestling announcers, we need TV guys who we can teach to announce.
Sure, and it's always been a failure, but they never learn, so... But that's just how Vince McMahon is. He's not a wrestling promoter. He's just an entertainment mogul.
Ooh, good word.
I love when you're shocked when I use vocabulary as a fucking writer. Anyway, just
I'm not shocked, just impressed.
Ignore him, Nails.
Well, I'm surprised McMahon has not failed more often.
Well,
He's
has
failed quite a bit.
He's I will say this about Vince McMahon. I got to give him a little bit of credit. The man is not afraid to fail.
No, that's certainly true.
The man is not afraid to fail in a spectacular manner if need be.
Well, that would be XFL.
WBF.
That was the largest. That was that was probably his largest stage of failure.
The thing with Vince McMahon is early on when Vince McMahon was becoming Vince McMahon, when he was buying the company from his father, when he was running WrestleMania. A lot of things that were very, very big gambles for him. And those gambles paid off. And I think he learned at that point that you're going to win some and you're going to lose some, but if you just try, you're going to win. It's like we actually had this talk many months ago when we were trying to give Vince advice about picking up women.
Yes, I recall.
And we said, if you try and pick up 50 women, 49 may say no, but you may get the one that's going to say yes. It's a numbers game. And Vince McMahon has failed many, many times, but he's also had enough successes where he's an evil billionaire. So, but he makes a lot of stupid mistakes, don't get me wrong. But what can you do? So, the ECW show, Nails, your thoughts on the whole thing?
Actually, I thought it was better, and at least I didn't watch all of the second one, but I thought it was better than the first one, aside from the zombie, of course.
That's undoubtedly true.
But it was all right. RVD, that guy seems really slow, and he looks like he's going to hurt himself or somebody else.
You mean slow in the physical or mental sense?
Physically, he seems kind of slow.
He came off a knee injury, was out for a year, and he has never been the same since. He's been slower, just never really got it back. And when I called you and you were briefly talking about the show and you said it wasn't bad, I initially thought, what the hell show is he watching? That show last night was bad. But now as I really think about it, and I really break down the show, it wasn't that bad. And I think there was a middle section in the show that I thought was, I guess, not good. And I think that stuck with me. And I guess also the problem is that the main event, it just didn't have the crowd heat that would have
they were dead.
Brought it to the level of what they did in the ring, Kurt Angle and Rob Van Dam. Kurt Angle, I don't know if anybody knows this or not. This may be a revelation. He's fucking great.
Oh, yes.
He had this match with Rob Van Dam, and early on, nobody gave a shit. Nobody cared. And they did a lot of mat-based stuff, and I think a lot of the people didn't understand it. There were some chants for "We Want Cena" and that sort of thing. And he took this crowd that didn't give a shit, and by the end of this match, they were totally into it and going crazy.
See, I thought this was a bad show that was saved by a good main event. And for exactly the reasons you just said, they took a hostile crowd and turned them in their favor.
Yes.
It was really great to see.
This is why Kurt Angle is great, for those of you wondering. And this argument, it hasn't actually popped up in several months, thank God, but God knows this could cause it again, but that's fine. But this is one of the many reasons that Kurt Angle is great. He did this, and he may be legally disabled, to be honest with you.
He's not doing well.
And
he looks hobbled, that's for sure.
He is definitely hobbled, and he just, man, what a performance last night. And the other thing on the show that I remember off the top of my head was Sabu versus Roadkill at the beginning. Not a great match by any means, but Sabu works very hard. He's going to kill himself. He's probably going to
I think he almost skewered himself, if I remember right.
He impaled himself on the table at the very end.
Yes, that was a little
Actually, it wasn't at the very end. He kept wrestling.
Yes, he did. And I've said this many times, but he strikes me more than anyone else lately. What a physique for a man abiding to a wellness policy. This man is like, he's got to be 40 by now, 42 years old, and he sure didn't look this good in TNA, and he's working a way more busy schedule now. Just very strange. Thought I would throw that out there, but he has really delivered in this whole ECW deal, so I got to give him a huge thumbs up, and so I guess it was a good show sandwich. A good match at the beginning that I enjoyed, a good match at the end that I enjoyed, and a bunch of just bullshit in the middle.
It was comedy in the middle, man.
Well, if you want to call it that. There was the male stripper that got caned in the ass.
Yes.
That actually, I was fine with that because only Sandman could have made that segment even mildly entertaining.
Oh, man, when he was stroking his cane, I almost lost it.
He was extraordinarily. He appeared to be very inebriated, which also is in violation of the wellness policy. You're not allowed to drink 12 hours before a show. He may have been drinking as he was coming down to the ring. In fact, I'm sure he was.
I was going to say.
He looked just blitzed. Then what else do we have? The Mike Knox, Danny Doring thing, which was just horrendous.
That was a fucking debacle.
Then we had Kelly trying to strip again. I'm amused that they've given her the same song, I believe, 3 weeks in a row now. So I presume the idea is if she keeps doing her stripper routine to the same song and gets into a groove, eventually she'll be able to do the whole thing without fucking something up.
She's practicing on the air.
She was wearing a lovely outfit.
Her shorts can only be described as an architectural work of genius.
Yes. Those were some fine shorts.
I request that she wear them often.
But, you know.
She's a horrible stripper.
She is
That's all there is to it.
very bad stripper.
I would say she's not a stripper.
Well, okay. She's a horrible actress doing stripping.
She's not an actress either, though.
She's just a girl. She's just a girl.
All right, she's got a nice pair of tits.
Okay, yes. And a lot of other stuff. But
yeah.
And then the other thing on the show was Heyman having a meeting with RVD and saying this and that. I think Dave put this in his update today, that big changes coming down in ECW. Did he put that in the update today?
You mentioned something about Paul Heyman no longer being in charge or significantly less in charge than he was before.
Well, yeah, Paul Heyman over the last 3 weeks has lost progressively more power as the weeks go by.
I'm stunned, I tell you.
I think that the Danny Doring thing was a very good example. I think in a month we're going to have Rob Van Dam, the Sandman, and Sabu, and those will be the only remnants of the old ECW left. The Danny Dorings,
Tommy.
the Al Snows. Oh, I don't even know about Tommy.
Yeah, all right.
I do find it very amusing that all their really ECW's top stars are all, of course, WWE guys.
They are now.
Well, there's a reason.
Even the RVD, who was an ECW guy, sorta. He was probably more known for WWE after the fact. But
well, there's a reason for that.
Me, I should say.
There's a reason the ECW guys are not being pushed to stars, and that's because the ECW guys are, for example, Danny Doring.
Yes. The ECW invasion, they're doing it slightly better than the Raw invasion. When I look back at the WWE invasion, I have nightmares, but...
WCW invasion.
The WCW, what did I say?
WWE.
Well, it was a WWE invasion.
It really was, yeah.
The WCW invasion, the ill-fated WCW invasion, Vince sort of had the right idea. It was necessary to mix some WWE guys onto the WCW side to give that side star power. The problem was he should have brought in the WCW stars. That was the big mistake.
Yep.
And at least they've brought in 3 of the biggest ECW stars for this invasion. Sabu, Sandman, and Rob Van Dam. Even though Rob Van Dam probably was in WWE for longer than ECW. At least they've got that going. But the only reason this show is doing a 2-1 and a 2-2 is because people are there to see John Cena and Edge and the Raw stars.
Yep.
If this had been all ECW guys, it would have been a 1.1. It would have been TNA.
Oh, I think less than that.
Probably, maybe a 0.9.
Sure.
But
Ouch.
they need the star power, and they're bringing the star power over. So people that are upset about that, well, it really is the way it's got to be. And if you don't believe it, check out TNA. Because they brought over the mid-level WWE stars and got it up to a 1.2, and now it's back down again.
Yes.
And this Thursday it'll probably be a 0.9. So anyway, that's the ECW show. All right, ECW on Sci-Fi opened up with Paul Heyman doing this little speech saying, yes, Rob Van Dam lost the belt, but he's still the ECW champion.
You need a drink there?
Pizza-related incident. I had pepperoni come up my throat.
That sucks.
I didn't really, but almost vomited. But Paul Heyman talked this, that, and the other thing. Big Show walked in and said that he had been promised that when he jumped to ECW he was going to get a title shot, and he wanted it tonight. So Heyman said, well, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, as soon as he said that, everyone booed. Got off to a great start. Kelly came out and stripped. And by the way, that was her name as announced by the ring announcer.
Yes.
Kelly.
That is now her name.
Yeah. She's wearing a patriotic outfit. She did her little dance. Same song, still boring. Actually, progressively more boring by the week, which is fantastically. That takes a lot of talent to be that hot and get more boring taking off your clothes each week. That takes...
No, it's the same thing you've seen before.
What?
That's the way pornography works. Once you've seen it, you're done.
I could see Maria strip every week, and it would never get old.
She's a very special person.
Kelly gets more boring with each passing week.
Kelly is hot, and she's very hot, but she's just hot.
Out came Mike Knox again. He had a match. Among the chants in this match were, you suck dick, shut the fuck up, you can't wrestle, After which, I might add, he executed 5 consecutive body
Oh, my
slams
God.
in a row. This sucked.
Oh, God, it was horrible. I called last week's Mike Knox debut. I called it a debacle, and we never really talked about why. It was not so much his fault as just as he was put in a position to suck last week. This week he came out and he had his match, and it was wretched.
Rob Van Dam stormed into Paul's office and wanted the match with Show. Paul said fine, so it was on for later on. Actually, what he said was if Paul didn't sign the match, he'd go down and accept it himself, and later on he accepted it, so it was on, and Paul said it was fine. A lot of Paul RVD stuff during the show. RVD, his A game tonight.
Yeah.
He was on his A game.
Well, that was, they were forced to do 3 months worth of angles in a 1 hour show.
Yes.
So.
They did a very stupid deal with Tony DeVito, who was playing a priest. Apparently the gimmick is in ECW, if you come over the balcony and just cut a promo, you're okay.
Yes.
And then they will politely ask you to sit back in your seat after you're finished. Sandman came out and caned this man to death. It's time we move on. I've seen Sandman cane a gimmick for 4 straight weeks. I've seen the chick strip for 4 straight weeks. It's an hour show. Can we please move on?
The biggest problem with the Sandman thing is they started with the best gimmick. The zombie. They will never have a better gimmick to get us canned than the zombie.
Fucking zombie. They just need to move on, okay?
Yeah.
I'm sick of this stuff. Then we had, by the way, the show was awful at this point. Then out came Test. He faced Al Snow.
Welcome to Heat 2002.
Crowd chanted, "You take steroids." This was a great show just to listen to the crowd.
Yeah, Philly was on their A game as well.
Very intriguing show as far as listening to what they had to say. Test looked like he killed the poor guy. He was stiff. He was excited and sloppy, basically.
Yeah.
And that right there is going to be a drop, but that's fine. Move along.
After watching Mike Knox, Test looked like Stan Hansen in his prime. And maybe because he was really hitting the guy.
Maybe because he looked like a guy in his third match who was just so excited he couldn't...
He was really hitting the guy as hard as he could. Maybe that's why it all looked so good.
Al looked like he'd been killed.
Yeah. Holding
his hand and trying to wiggle his fingers afterwards to make sure he was not paralyzed. What are you going to do with Test?
I don't know.
Is Test aware of the wellness policy?
That is actually a great question.
The fans appear to be aware, so at least somebody is.
Yeah.
CM Punk debuted, and...
I thought this went perfectly.
It was fine. And
he talked for 45 seconds. He got his character over. He said he would eventually be debuting.
And he actually looked straight edge.
He looked straight edge. He looked like a clean cut man, relatively. He wasn't there too long. It didn't drag at all, and it wasn't throwing him out there on live TV and then trying to build his character afterwards. It was building anticipation for his eventual debut, probably next week, but it should be in a month or so.
If anybody from Ohio Valley that works in the lighting department's listening, let me give you a little piece of advice. If you want a job like in the local Louisville Gardens, Channel 5 or whatever, don't use your Ohio Valley tapes as part of your resume. Just claim you just graduated and you're ready to start a new career and you'd like to get a chance. Because whoever does lighting in Ohio Valley needs to be fired immediately. We've had Shelley on both shows. Shelley on ECW looked fine. Shelley in Ohio Valley looks like a 900-year-old gypsy.
Yes.
CM Punk on this show looked like a straight-edge youngster. In Ohio Valley, he looks like a drug addict
who lives under a bridge.
Slept in 4 weeks. So something's horribly awry as far as ECW or Ohio Valley is concerned, but that's that. Main event was RVD and Big Show for the ECW title. Went too long, but even going too long, it was better than I expected. I expected a disaster, to be honest with you. And Show is a fine giant. He's not great. He'll never be great, but I've seen far worse giants on SmackDown, for example. And they had a match, and Paul Heyman, of course, as most of you are well aware, screwed Rob Van Dam. Screwed him out of the title. He ran down there to count the pin, counted to 2. Everybody thought it was a 3 and counted to 3. Took him about 10 seconds to realize what the hell had happened, and then the loud "You sold out" chant started. Mm-hmm. Rob Van Dam ended up getting clonked with a chair, chokeslammed onto a chair, which looked extraordinarily uncomfortable. And Show got the pin. He's your new champion. The fans pelted the ring with pop, cups of urine, God knows what else. And
that was that.
It was a hell of an angle, I got to say. It was a hell of an angle.
By itself, it was good. The only problem I would really have with it is that it's the evil GM. It's the same angle we've seen with this company for the past 4 years.
Well, Paul was very rapidly becoming the evil GM without even trying.
Yeah.
Because they do have some hardcore ECW fans, which are always going to be the loudest fans.
Yes.
If you have a building of 1,000 hardcore ECW fans and 9,000 other WWE fans, the ECW fans are going to be...
They're going to win.
They're going to win.
Yeah.
And they were already getting very upset about Paul Heyman because he was trying to push the CCW on them that they did not like.
Mm-hmm.
He truly is a heel GM.
Yeah, I guess
this
he is.
will work.
Yeah.
This will work. But, and plus it was worth it just because it made Tommy Dreamer really mad.
If any of you haven't read Dreamer's ECW diary on the WWE.com website,
It's like he posted on our board 3 weeks ago when everybody was crying about everything.
Take 30 seconds out of your life and go read this. It will be worth your time, I promise. The other real highlight of this match
Before you go on, I would just like to say that I want to say here publicly on the air that I have fallen madly in love with the board again. The
board's had quite the upswing.
And hey, listen, everybody that got mad at me for yelling at the board that day, even those of you yelling at me have to admit the board was really shitty there for a while. And I'm sure that it's cyclical. It's going to get shitty again at some point. But we have had a great week on the board. And a lot of it has to just do with Twan.
Who showed up, dropped a bundle of gifts in all our lives, and departed. Like a stupid Santa Claus.
He demanded his actually didn't demand, he just goes, "Can I please get a refund?" And I immediately gave it to him. Like,
sure.
Within seconds of receiving the email, I gave him his refund.
After you tricked him.
I did.
You tricked him into thinking he would get the Observer. You tricked him by not mentioning the Observer anywhere in the thousands and thousands of words in your ad.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So, Twan is gone. I'm sorry, everybody. It is very sad. But perhaps someday he'll be back.
He's like an angel.
Because I think in some ways he was touched to have showed up and his very first post ended up a sticky. And it'll probably be a sticky forever.
He really did take the whole thing in stride.
Well, I think the key with Twan is I have dealt with Twan for many, many years. And I think everybody knows that. They've heard the stories. People asking me how often does Figure 4 Weekly come out. These questions that I get.
I see.
And Twan showed up and just symbolized all of this.
Mm-hmm.
Symbolized 10 years of wacky questions. And it just erupted from there. And IMM actually, a couple of days ago, said the board had died. And he must have been gone for several days because this was at the peak of the board's greatness.
Yes.
This board was just fantastic.
Well, as I recall, it was in a thread that I was thoroughly enjoying.
Yes.
Every post where I was like, yeah, another good one. Yeah, another good one. And then he says, oh, the board's dead. I was like, what? Are you high?
So anyway, I do love every single one of you on the board right now. I cannot at this moment think of any of you that I'm very upset with. So I love you all. I would like to throw that out there today.
There you go.
It's a very positive board plug there.
There you go.
And by the way, you can just click on the giant The Board on the main menu for those of you that have never visited the board yet and see what you're missing. Some good stuff. So, What were we talking about?
I had one last comment on ECW. The RVD and Big Show match, they did a little crowd brawling, which you and I are both pretty much always down on. There's almost never a point to it just to kill time. And this time there actually was a point to it because they fought in the stands, and RVD was walking around, and RVD is a pretty decent-sized guy. He's a big dude. He's walking around and all these small people around him, and then Big Show moseyed on into camera, looking like a dinosaur out there among the people. And we only see Big Show next to other pro wrestlers, and it kind of camouflages his size, and seeing him among the marks in Philly made you realize, good God, this man is planet-like.
The ECW show, which was boring, opened up with Kelly doing her striptease, which she's at least improved. I will give her that. And she is perhaps the hottest girl they've got on any show if she just knew what to do with her hotness. She's just hot.
She is very hot in still photographs.
Sure. And well, in life, too, because she is a living still photograph.
Yeah.
But she's getting better. She's improving. She's been to the clubs, apparently, and is... Perhaps she's learning to strip. Perhaps there's a poll somewhere. For those of you that saw the pictures from whatever that get-together was earlier this year, and Brent was there and I was there, and the beard was starting to grow, and there was the young lass in the yellow shirt. She teaches pole dancing. So perhaps they should have hired her to teach Kelly how to do this, because She sucks. But we'll actually get into that more later because I have more to say about that situation there. Mike Knox came out, tried to drag her away. Instead, he dragged her to the ring. He doesn't want her prancing around in that outfit, so he just took her to the ring to watch his match with Sandman. Sandman ended up accidentally caning young Kelly. He Kelly'd her. Hit her in the head with his cane. Actually very easy. He was nice about this.
Well, good.
He could have hit her a lot harder, and he hit her hard enough to make a noise and probably not hurt her all that much, if at all. And she sold it seriously like she had died. Dead. And they actually...
They stretchered her out.
No, not yet. They finished the match before anybody came out to help young Kelly. And Mike Knox, I believe, what happened? I don't even remember.
He hit 2 low blows and won.
Oh, yeah, he kicked him in the balls twice and won. So, Mike Knox, your winner, and then they came out and took young Kelly away. And that was that.
It was that. Mike Knox... I don't know. I was not as down on the show as you were, but I think it's largely because I was folding laundry the whole time I was watching it, so I had something else to do. But, you just described everything that happened, and there's really nothing for me to add, so let's just move on.
No, I want to hear what you have to add, because you said you were not as down on the show, and I was down on this match, so why were you not down on this whole segment here?
I just said because I was folding socks at the time. It was on in the background. That's what your problem. You're focusing too much on the shows. You need to do something with your life while you're watching the shows.
I just laugh at your analysis. You couldn't... There's something about, I like the show better than you, and I expect some analysis for once in your life, and your analysis is, I was folding clothes when I watched it.
Yes.
So why did folding clothes make this not bad?
Because it was not the only thing in my life was the show going on. I had something else to think about. I had something else to distract me, and I could look up every minute or so and see what was going on.
Okay, can you stop folding clothes when you watch these shows so you can actually determine whether they're any good or not?
My life is better this way.
You had 4 days to fold some clothes, dude. Your clothes aren't that big, and you don't have that many. So then we had Dreamer coming out with the cops in the riot gear, which suggests that, in fact, in about 2 weeks, one of them will take off his helmet, and it will be Rob Van Dam, and then I will be happy again, because something will have been done that was actually cool. So he came out. Tommy Dreamer is sad about this, that, and the other thing. So Heyman gave him the kiss of death, and that was that.
Test gave him the foot of death.
Test hit the ring and kicked him in the chops, laid him out, and that was that. That's our big feud, Test and Tommy Dreamer, with Paul's slobber on the line, or something of that nature. Crowd freaked out when Heyman kissed him, so Paul at least found something in 2006 where he could get a rise out of people, which I got to give him credit for, because no one else seems to be able to find anything. So
it made me think, back in ECW, the original ECW, they did the big lesbian angle, which was shocking at the time, and if they did the same thing now, no one would give shit one about it. So he said, well, what's a little twist on this I can do? Let's use 2 dudes. And it worked.
That's right. He kissed him, and everybody, they screamed.
You are fag, you are punk, little gay.
And I think Paul wants everybody to know that he is not, in fact, a punk little gay. So for those of you wondering, I suggest that that's, you know what I mean?
Watch The Godfather, everyone.
Balls Mahoney, read the Bible, everybody.
Or, one of those two. Same thing.
Many different things that you could, or just watch gay porn.
You could, I suppose.
Balls Mahoney did a promo.
Do you have any to recommend?
I was trying to think of a funny porn name.
Best of DX.
I could not do it. Maybe if I played a drop, I could think of one in the meantime.
You was lucky, punk.
Humbled. There you go. Let's name my...
Starring the Lucky Punks.
Gay porn. Humbled. The old country way. It should be. Minnie, actually it was about a year ago, I met a young man who...
Where's this going?
This relates somewhat to what we were talking about, in a strange sort of way. It's not what you think. I was working on a student film, and so...
This is the best story ever already. Dear Penthouse Forum.
Dear Penthouse Forum. I was working on a student film, and there was a cast of characters. The best way I can determine it is characters. And 2 of these characters would never have gotten a role in a film before, except they were childhood friends of the directors. One of them was a tall man who was pierced in multiple areas, and he had a friend who was fat with a mullet.
Awesome.
And they were both punk rockers. They had the handkerchiefs tied around their torn jeans and all sorts of shit like that. And they were just all wacky. And one day, I became friends with these two men. And one day, the fat one was talking about this tattoo that he was going to get. And the way the story started was his tall, skinny friend, who also plays in a band, I might add, had been nonchalantly talking about how he'd shaved the fat one's ass. Apparently, the fat one had a hairy ass, and he had to shave it. And I said, why did you have to shave his ass? And he was like, well, he's getting a tattoo. And I said, oh. And he said, what really made me mad was I shaved his ass so he could get the tattoo. And he went in, but apparently he'd forgotten the drawing. So he had to reschedule the appointment for next week, so I'm going to have to shave his ass again. And I'm not happy about that. And anyway, the point of this is that the tattoo that he was going to get on his cleanly shaven ass was a plate with a fork on one side and a knife on the other, and over the top it was going to say, all-you-can-eat buffet.
Wow.
That's a true story. I don't know if he ever got the tattoo. I don't know if he ever got it, but that was his plan. He even showed me the illustration. He was so proud. He had an illustration that apparently a professional artist had created a plate, a fork, and a knife, and in script above it, all-you-can-eat buffet, and this was going to be tattooed on his ass.
On his butt cheeks.
Sure.
Wow.
So,
ladies, if you're interested, Bryan knows a fat guy with a mullet and a funny tattoo.
That's right.
And it's not
You
me.
are fag, you are punk, little gay.
Where were we on this show before I got into that rant? Speaking of tattoos, CM Punk is now an MMA fighter who focuses on wrestling. Apparently that's his new
That's
gimmick.
his new stick, yes.
Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Kempo Karate. He should have thrown in Taekwondo just for the gag.
Aikido, yeah.
So anyway, the Vampire and the Fortune Teller are going steady, for those of you keeping track. Big Show faced The Undertaker for the ECW title. It was... I've seen worse. I don't think it was as bad as I'd been led to believe, but it was certainly no good. They had a match. I also like how it is now completely random. It's like you roll the dice whether a match is going to be Extreme Rules or not. The Sandman Mike Knox match at the beginning of the show was Extreme Rules. The fucking main event, Big Show versus Undertaker for the Extreme Championship Wrestling Heavyweight title of the world, was under normal wrestling rules.
Wasn't there a Sabu match in the show that was also...
Which also was under normal
not
rules.
extreme, yes.
Sure. So we don't know what's extreme, what's not.
Or why.
Or why. There's no good reason. Sabu did, in fact, beat Stevie Richards in a match. So, anyway, Great Khali ran in, and they both beat up Undertaker, and that was just the end. We didn't even really get a DQ. It just was not going on anymore, and the show ended. So, they could still be fighting, for all I know. But, yeah. ECW...
I don't even take it as an insult.
ECW open up. We'll have some excitement tomorrow, I'm sure, with Craig's infant. Yeah. It's going to be a rockin' good time. I'm going out to see the child and to eat with Craig. But I'm not expecting any sort of excitement tomorrow, because how can you have excitement with a 1-week-old child? The child can't move.
No.
Can't even roll over.
Nope.
He will just lay there.
Perhaps cry.
Sure. We will look at the child. We will point out how beautiful the child is.
It's a baby.
And then we'll eat some food. But maybe it'll be more exciting. You never know. You just never know. We might have to have Craig come onto the show to talk about what it's like being a new father.
That would be a hell of a show, actually.
We just talked to Adam Dykes today about it, and he had some good things to say about fatherhood, so maybe we'll have to get Craig on as well. But onward. And by the way, I don't know if he said this on the show. I don't know if he was serious. I was talking to somebody today who also, they just had a child 3 months ago. It was a very small little child. And I was saying, everyone I know is having children. There's just new babies everywhere. My buddy Craig just had a child, and
Buddy Wayne.
Yeah.
Sonny O'Mara.
Can you quit cutting me off?
No.
And I was like, my buddy Craig just had a child, and he yelled at me today. He goes, why haven't you come over and seen your godson yet? And this person goes, your godson? Do you know what that means? And I was like, no, what does that mean? I thought it was just a, like reverend. Just a title. Just a title.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, no, if...
You're a hell of a reverend, by the way.
If they... if they die, this child is yours. I was like, what? What are you talking about?
I don't think that's actual law.
I see.
It may be tradition in some churches, but
well, the point is if Craig and Michelle did tragically pass on, I'm sure I'd take the child. I wouldn't just go to the orphanage with you.
I would step
man.
in and take the child would be better off in the orphanage.
Well, actually, I figured I would sign the child away to you in case of emergency. But then I really thought that one and thought, no, I'll raise this child myself.
I fully intend, if I am ever cursed with children, I intend to just drop them off to my mom. Jesus. Say, here, you deal with it. That
explains so much about you. But anyway, I would take this child, but I was just shocked to hear that, in fact, that's what being the godfather of this child and I don't know if I'm the actual real. I don't know if he was joking, so I'm going to have a chat with him
I
about
believe
this
he told
tomorrow.
us we were the child's godfathers, which sounds like a sitcom, but I'm almost positive that's not like a state law or anything. I don't think it really works that way.
Well, I don't think I'm a legal reference, so
because
I may end up with this child one way or the other.
I am actually, regardless of whether I'm the godfather of Craig's child, I am still the godfather of my nephew, Tristan. So, should, God forbid, anything happen to his parents, that means the boy's in my hands, and then there's no hope for him.
Yeah, I swear to God, I would give the child to Buddy Wayne before I give the child to you.
Yeah.
And even before he was married and had Shauna to look after the infant.
Back in the real Buddy days.
Sure. I still think that he would have ended up a better father than you.
I don't argue that.
You know, we haven't even started talking about wrestling, but it doesn't matter. It's just one of those days. I remember one time we were driving back from Vegas and we were talking about your issues with women.
We talked about a lot of stuff on the drive back from Vegas.
Well, it was a long drive.
The history of mankind.
But one of the things we discussed was your love of football.
Yes. And
you made the comment that on just Sunday, the girl's just got to leave.
Yeah.
It's just football day. She's just fucked.
Yes. Secondary.
And we indicated that this was one of your major issues. This is going to cause trouble down the road. And it will.
How so?
I don't know why I thought about that just now, but I did. Something just about the fact that you have no fatherly instincts.
Yeah.
You don't want anything to do with children. Mm-hmm. And you expect your wife to just leave
Sunday.
Whoa.
I don't want a wife.
Oh, well, your days of having anything to do with any women are over. I hope you accept that.
Oh, yeah, I have.
Okay. Well, good. Let's just move on with the show then.
All right.
Mike Knox and Kelly came down to the ring. And he showed the video of her stripping and said, "You will never take your clothes off in public again," which was odd that he would show the video and then make this statement, but what the hell. I guess they figured they needed some TNA on the show. So he had a match with the Sandman. I believe last week the match was a Extreme Rules match. This week it was not. I think what they should do is just one of these days at the beginning of the show, have a tumbler, spin it, and just pull out a match, and that's the Extreme Rules match for the night, because it is completely, utterly random.
There's no point to it.
You can't even say the main event, because last week the main event was not Extreme Rules. This week it was.
You can't even say title match.
It's utterly, completely random.
They should throw darts.
And the reason it annoys me is because it requires the announcers at least 14 times during each match to explain to us whether or not it's Extreme Rules.
That is annoying.
Yeah, what I thought, I was watching the show today and I thought, here's an idea. Why don't you just get, spray paint an X, and if it's an Extreme Rules match, just put that X in the corner of the screen and just be done with it.
That would work.
And do the tumbler deal. Just at the beginning of the show, just have Kelly do it. Have her take off her bra, put it over her eyes so she's blindfolded, pull a little thing out of a tumbler, and that's the match. It's Extreme Rules. It gets the X in the bottom of the screen, and you don't have to worry about it the rest of the fucking show. Just make life easier for everybody.
That would make more sense than what they're doing.
So they had a match with the Sandman. Sandman, I don't even know what happened. I just remember this segment was wretched. Test ran in.
Yeah.
Sandman almost hit the girl, and then Test ran in and attacked him, laid him out, and it was completely wretched in every way.
I think Mike Knox may be the most useless wrestler I've ever seen. Or at least the most boring. He's not the worst wrestler I've ever seen, but there's guys like Heidenreich and Snitsky and Khali where they're so bad they're entertaining. Mike Knox is like Charlie Haas with zero athletic ability.
That's actually not a bad...
A little taller But he's not even that tall.
He cut a promo, and it was even more boring than Charlie Haas promo, if you can believe that.
Oh, my God. And then he starts to wrestle and does not get any better.
No. And then the best part...
He brings nothing to the table other than being of above average height.
And then afterwards, Mike Knox and Test had a skit together in which they were required to act. I just want everybody to watch this and realize that Test fancies himself a future actor. And he's the worst actor in the entire company by a wide margin. It was so bad. So anyway, that sucked. Then we had Sabu meeting with Heyman. Sabu wanted a shot at Big Show's title. Heyman said no, so Sabu just stood there.
Well, he doesn't talk except for when they want him to.
It's just stupid. He didn't even argue. He was just like, And then Heyman walked away.
He didn't scowl. He didn't...
No, he just stood there, accepted it. So then Heyman got mad at Guido for reasons that were never explained and were just dumb.
Because Paul Heyman's insane, you see. Because he accused Guido of saying something under his breath, whereas in fact Guido did not do it.
Okay, this is not working.
Paul, no, I didn't say it was working.
Paul is not... Paul can play a lot of things, but just a guy that's hearing voices, it ain't working.
Yeah.
The Bashams, by the way, are the security guys, for those of you wondering, so... I don't know if they'll end up unmasking or if they're just in that role until Rob Van Dam comes back. I still want Rob Van Dam to be one of the security guys. I'm having this feeling that ain't going to happen now.
It has to.
It's too good an idea.
The only problem is
they've
already limited it down and there's only 2 of them. So if a third one just showed up, it would look weird. If you had a squad of 5, no one would notice that there was a 6th guy.
What?
I'm just
just replace one of them.
That would work too.
You know?
Well, okay, here's why I say that. Here's the vision I have. They're doing, I guess in 2 weeks or whatever RVD's big return show is, the advertisers RVD's return, but Heyman swears, no, he's not coming back. He won't come back. And then...
but Heyman suspended him for 30 days, so it doesn't make sense.
I didn't say it had to make sense. Let me get to my fucking idea. So Heyman's in the ring with the security guys, and they show on the screen, and they do have a monitor above the ECW entrance. They show RVD's coming into the building, and Heyman panics, and he sends the security guys out there, but then the one security guy hangs out behind him. And at that point, Heyman starts cutting a promo on the fans saying, you are not going to see Rob Van Dam. At which point, the last security guy does the thumb thing to his giant helmet, and he takes off the helmet, and it's Rob Van Dam, and he beats up Paul Heyman, and everyone's happy.
Why did you come up with that idea?
Because I had time to kill today.
Because it made sense?
Yeah, that too.
Well, you said it didn't matter if it made sense.
Why do you hate me so much?
Checkmate, fucker. No, just you have the 2 security guards and just have Heyman sick the security guards. One goes, the other doesn't. And then the one beats up the other one. You're just beating up a Basham. That way Rob Van Dam gets to beat somebody up, and he's obviously not going to beat up Paul Heyman yet. I'm trying to think of something where Rob Van Dam could be under the goddamn hood. And you only need 2 guys.
Okay.
Just get rid of Danny or something. He hasn't done anything for 6 months. Then they had a match. Little Guido and someone.
The Vampire.
I already don't. Oh, the Vampire. The Vampire got a match. I hated this.
Oh, this is eminently hateable.
First off, the Vampire gimmick is just got to go. No redeeming value whatsoever. No one's going to get into it. It's Mordecai with a new shitty gimmick, basically.
That is a big part of the problem, and I don't know. This may be just because it's me, because I watched OVW, and I know that Fertig is not a gothic guy. He's just a big hick.
Well, there is that, too. He's wearing a Halloween costume. But
yes, he is, exactly.
The most hateable part here was he actually did a really cool move. He had Guido's feet on the ropes, and he did a stunner, and it looked awesome. And I thought, my God, at least the Vampire's got a cool finish. And then he just kept wrestling for about another 2 minutes.
Yeah.
It's just insufferable. And then he used a razor's edge for the pin, and thumbs down.
Oh, thumbs way down.
Then we had... there's boring chancery in this match as well. Actually, from one man passionately chanting that. So, Balls Mahoney beat Just Incredible.
This was the worst match I ever saw.
It was...
Yeah, that's a little strong.
I'll let you.
Well, it was just very, very bad. It was very, very boring. Fortunately, I've already blocked... Why do you just put your sunglasses on?
I feel like Howard Stern now.
I'm Blind Willie McTell.
Go ahead.
Balls Mahoney and Just Incredible had a wrestling match in ECW. It was long. It was boring.
Are you talking about today?
Yes.
You said ECW, I presume just meant the real one, but go on.
I meant the show we watched today on television, on Sci-Fi. Balls Mahoney did his balls punches in the first minute of the match, Then about 9 years went by, and when it came time to his comeback, he just did them again. Because that's all he's got is that one balls, 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 whoa, 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 balls. That's all he's got. That's all he has to do. And that's still, by the way, that's still one more move than Just Incredible has to do. So he's one up there. So this went on for ever and ever and ever and ever and ever. Just Incredible missed a DDT by a great margin, but they sold it anyway. And then eventually, Justin brought in a chair.
I think it was just a lazy DDT. He just decided to let go halfway through.
Exactly, yeah. He grabbed him and then in midair let go, and somehow
Sure.
Balls' head was still driven into the canvas.
I also love when he delivered 3 leg drops in succession. Just one good leg drop wasn't enough. He had to do 3 in a row.
Yeah.
Which was still meant nothing. I don't even think it was a 2 count, but go on.
So anyway, Justin brought a chair in. Balls procured it. Balls whacked him with a chair. Balls turned around and celebrated that he whacked a guy with a chair. The referee called for the bell. Justin's music started playing. Balls was still happy. Then they announced that he was disqualified, and then Balls figured it out. So Balls was upset, so he hit the ref with a chair, and he was happy again, and that was the end.
No, the most important part of this was when Joey Styles said, "That's too extreme for even ECW." And I thought, yeah. Whew. That was a killer right there.
Yes, he just incredible. You can tell he's wrestled Balls Mahoney before, because when it came time to take his chair shot, he did not just put one hand up. He did not put 2 hands up. He crossed both arms on top of his head.
Yes.
He could have taken a truck to the head at this point.
The only chair shot I've seen that was ever worse, I actually took. I was wrestling Tim, and he picked up the chair, and I did not just put my hand up, but I extended my arm straight out in front of me like Hitler, just with my palm pointing at the chair.
Mm-hmm.
He hit my hand, fully extended, my arm fully extended. I took a bump, and all I heard was Tim Flowers go, "Oh, Chico." And he picked me up, and he said, "Keep your fucking hands down." And he hit me in the head with a chair, and I died.
I think you did. I actually remember watching this. I think not only did you stick your arm straight out, I think it grew like Inspector Gadget.
It actually did. It extended. And it's actually still longer to this day, funny enough.
Amazing how that works.
Yeah. The main event was Big Show and Kane, which I had no hopes for. None whatsoever.
I realized this was going on, that I was counting on Big Show and Kane to save the show.
And they did.
And they did.
They strangely enough
Eventually
did.
they did. It did not get off to a real hot start, but they kept at it, and by the end, everyone was into it, and it was a lot of fun.
Somebody on our board said that the 2.4 rating was proof that Big Show was the best worker in the WWE, which is a funny trolling post.
I was going to say, you saw who made that, right?
Sure, but, I think he was trying to get over the impression that Big Show was a great worker as well, and he may actually believe that, and that's fine. I don't think Big Show is the best worker on all the brands, by a wide margin, I might add, but for a big fat guy, he's totally fine. I mean, Big Show, after all these years, has figured out how to be the Big Show.
Yeah.
And he's very effective in that role. He's not going to, he's not turning the brand around or anything like that. There's a lot of Raw and ECW guys heading to the brand. People are starting to remember to tune in every week. It's getting a 2.4 pretty much every week. Sometimes it drops down, but it's averaging a 2.3, 2.4. Nothing phenomenal. Probably do a 2.5 next week with Big Dave. But, just purely for his in-ring, he's totally fine. I have no problem whatsoever with the Big Show.
I have no problem with Big Show doing 12-minute main events on ECW every week.
Well, I don't know if I'd go that far.
Maybe that may change in a month.
Every time I see 15 minutes left on the show with Big Show, I still gasp in horror. So he has not completely turned the corner with me yet. But with that said, this 15-minute Big Show Kane match was completely acceptable.
It was just fine.
ECW was from the Hammerstein Ballroom. Young Vincent, your thoughts?
Probably for the last time from the Hammerstein Ballroom.
Oh, no. They must return immediately.
I have no problem with them doing this show here every week, personally. Just a weird show from top to bottom. A show presented to anger those who bought tickets to see it. That seemed to be their goal. That seemed to be what they had set out to do. Were you listening to any of that?
Yeah, but I don't necessarily agree. It was a show. They booked it there, and it was like, you can't say that because the first match was everything.
To be fair, I'm including a lot of the off-TV results in that too.
Well, no, I can't say it was designed to upset people. It was just designed to show who was in charge.
Okay.
And they did give the people. I mean, the first match was as ECW as you can get. The first match was actually harkened back to the old ECW. And the main event of the show, everybody hated it, but the ending of the show was the ECW guy coming in to beat him up. So they sent those people home happy. That's what the people wanted to see. So I can't say this show was completely designed just to piss off some paying fans. But they certainly did piss some of them off. The opener was Salmon and Dreamer versus Mike Knox and Test, which was when the various chants first started, including "You suck dick," "She's got herpes," "Fuck 'em up Sandman," "You can't wrestle," "Show your tits." Anything else I'm missing here?
No, in fact, you got several there I forgot.
Yes, they the whole 9 yards. But it broke down, and Kelly ended up in the ring with Dreamer, which was the highlight of this match because he bent her over to spank her, and he teased her for about 30 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
So she was bent over his knee, helpless.
By the way, there's one chant you forgot there when he had her bent over helpless, and the crowd chanted, "Slap that ass."
I did miss that one. She was bent over and helpless, like she could not escape.
Mm-hmm.
She was on all fours and didn't know what to do except stay there.
Her face was not on camera, but I almost got the impression that she was giggling in anticipation with what was about to happen. She seemed like she was used to this position and was quite comfortable being there.
What a pig you are.
I'm just saying what I just gave you my observations.
No, it wasn't it. Okay, think about this, Vince. Imagine you're a girl, which should be easy most days.
Yeah.
And you're bent over some dude's knee.
And it's Tommy Dreamer.
Well, no. Okay, you have been a swimsuit model for 18 years.
Mm-hmm.
Some weird guy calls you and says, "We're going to give you $75,000 a year to be a character on TV for wrestling."
Sure.
You go, "Sure."
Mm-hmm.
So after being on TV for maybe 8 weeks, they go, "All right, you're going to be in the ring, and we're going to do a spot where this dude grabs you and he spanks you." Okay? So you're like, okay, you have no idea what's going on. The guy grabs you and bends you over his knee, and you're waiting to get spanked, and just nothing happens. What the hell would you do?
I don't know.
You would just sit there.
Yeah.
Like an idiot, which
Okay.
is exactly what she did. I don't think she was reveling and waiting for it, although the fact that
Would it shock you?
No, absolutely not. I just don't agree with that. She's just here's what here's why I'm saying this, because when I watched this, she came out and it's only been 8 weeks, and she has a connection with the crowd. There's something about her. There is something special about this girl. She can't dance. She's a horrible stripper. She's deer in the headlights, but there's something about her.
Just hot enough to overcome all that.
No, because there have been plenty of hot girls that have not been able to overcome that. There's something about this girl where I really think that everybody...
You know what I think it is? Actually, I think you use the phrase deer in the headlights. I think the crowd recognizes that she's... Is innocent the right word?
Maybe.
Naive, maybe?
Sure.
But
she has an endearing quality about her that I think people pick up on. And the reason I'm mentioning all of this is because when she first came out and she turned to the crowd and she just gave this look, and I was like, you know what? If this girl actually had been groomed long enough to have a clue before she started, she probably could have really been something. Because she's almost something now, just with 8 weeks of just being thrown to the wolves. If she'd been put in developmental Ohio Valley for a year or so and just actually got to manage and try and get a clue and then been brought up, she could have really been something.
Could be.
But they're going to burn this poor girl out long before she ever gets to that point. That's why I brought all of this up. But anyway, I didn't even know the finish. Dreamer got thrown into barbed wire by Heyman's security, then Test hit the RKO for the pin. It was a spectacle, a lot of blood and screaming. 10 p.m. on a Tuesday night. This may have been a little too much, but or maybe 11. I don't know what time this show airs. So anyway, Sabu appeared and spoke. "I want the big show," he said. And I figured out why Sabu never cut promos. Heyman said, no, he's a champion, he needs our support, blah, 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 and basically kicked Sabu out of the building. So that meant he'd be back later. CM Punk debuted against Justin Credible. It was a fine day. This is why they need to be in Hammerstein, because anywhere else this would not have gotten over to this degree. The Hammerstein Ballroom made this a much better debut than it was in execution. As far as the actual coming to the ring, having a wrestling match with Just Incredible, it was a fine match, but nothing spectacular. But the crowd, as soon as CM Punk came out, they treated him like a star.
Yeah.
They got into the match, and they went nuts for him when he won. Like, my God, we've just seen a historic debut. So from that perspective, this worked. And that was one of the strengths of Hammerstein. But
that's what amuses me, also thinking about the Casey James and Idol thing. And I guess maybe they had to get a new team out there with the Pitbulls being taken off the road. But that team was just thrown off with no build on TV and expected to get over by magic. And then they have Punk come out and just do simple little 30, 45-second promos for a month. Then he comes out and has a match and he wins. And it's very simple, but it's very effective. But they screwed up. They screwed up every other debut they've done, and they did CM Punk so great.
There's something else that reminded me of what you just said. I was actually listening, but I can't remember what it was. Perhaps it was on TNA. I don't remember. When I get to it, I will... if I get to it. It may have been on SmackDown and I just totally forgot. It's in the newsletter, kids, so read the goddamn newsletter. Angle faced the Brooklyn Brawler. Crowd chanted, welcome back, all that sort of good stuff.
For Angle, by the way.
Yeah, not for the Brooklyn Brawler. I actually wrote that. Same line there, so thanks for stealing my line.
No need to read the newsletter, kids.
He was, that is being turned out over there. Angle was fantastically excited to be back, and, he's well for the time being. He's got a completely different body. If you look at when he was celebrating afterwards and he did his little pose where he puts his arms out to the side, his shoulders have vanished. I'm sure he's still hurting. He was not tested prior to his return. And as noted in the newsletter, which you should all read, the feeling is that as soon as his random test comes up, he ain't passing. So the chances of him being pushed as world champion are probably pretty slim. Stranger things have happened, such as him getting the title in the first place earlier this year, but I don't think we're going to be seeing a long Angle title run anytime soon. Then we had the main event, which was Big Show and Batista for the title, and everybody hated this match.
Yeah.
Please tell me I didn't turn you up for just that.
Well, you did. I think by now everyone knows the story. The Hammerstein crowd violently, passionately, viciously hated both men, gave them no chance to do anything. You both suck, you can't wrestle, and the new one for the night changed the channel. It's very creative, very witty. And then on top of that, putting this match out there that was doomed to fail, they did a cheap DQ finish.
Oh, yeah. It was not Extreme Rules.
Which I believe is the second week in a row.
Yeah, they're just absolute idiots. It was a bad match. Batista just looked horrifyingly bad. And Big Show, the myth of Big Show as a great worker. All those great matches he's having lately. Man, those guys like Kurt Angle, Ric Flair, Jesus Christ, the guy's great. Yeah, he was sure great tonight with Big Dave. They both fucking were horrible. But I will at least give Show credit. Batista looked really green this evening because he just decided that he didn't know what to do with everyone booing, so he just tried to keep having the same match. And he pretended he was still a babyface. Whereas Show was like, hey, everybody, fuck off. Ha, you're fat. I make a lot of money.
That was a big one. Yeah.
Yeah, so he was just totally fine. But so anyway, yeah, it was horrible. And Sabu ran in afterwards, and everybody was very, very happy and that sort of thing. So it was a the main event was horrible, but there was just something about the show that I got to give it a thumbs up because it was just such a...
It was unique.
It was...
It was not just a show.
It was a fascinating show.
Yes.
They need more ECW-only crowds. This should have been proof that you just can't tape with Smack. Can you imagine if ECW would have followed that SmackDown we just watched?
Oh.
I cannot even fathom. How horrible the show would have been. CM Punk, let me tell you, everybody, had this show been taped after the SmackDown that we just saw, none of you would ever have seen CM Punk again. Because they would have been brutal to this poor bastard. And if we ever see Casey James and Aaron Idol and the poor shooters again, I don't know. But the ECW show was just a show in front of a crowd that didn't give a shit about anybody. There were a couple of chants for Sabu, and that was pretty much it. They didn't even care about Kurt Angle, which is really saying something. And just, I give the show a thumbs down, to be honest with you.
Oh, well, It was definitely a thumbs down until the main event. The main event was better.
It was fine.
It was fine. It was
fine. We need a drop of just it was
fine.
Can we someone please make a song based upon it was fine? And we'll just play that in place of ECW and TNA every week and stop reviewing them. You can just read the newsletter. I don't need to waste my breath.
I got no beef with that.
The very quick and dirty, Mike Knox faced Tommy Dreamer.
Yawn.
The only good thing about Mike Knox is the girl. If she were not there, there's no point in watching this. Ended up with some sort of something going on. Dreamer won, or no, Dreamer lost, of course. What am I saying?
Dude,
what a
come
fool.
on now.
And then I guess they're resetting up Dreamer and Sandman versus Test and Mike Knox. It wasn't enough the first time.
No, we need another rematch of that classic.
We've got to start over.
This feud must continue.
We've got to start over and build to it again. So then we had an interview with Sabu, which was one of the shining moments on this show.
For those of you wondering why Sabu never spoke for the first 15 years of his career or so,
I would appreciate a drop of this speech, by the way. What he said, and this is actually an exact quote, I'm Sabu. I've been demanding a title shot against the Big Show. He's been avoiding me. Kurt Angle, after I beat you, I'll get what I want.
Yep.
That was the entire, and I may have done it better, and I was trying not to. That was the entire Sabu speech.
It was phenomenally bad. I can't believe this made TV. That's all I can say. I can't believe
half this show made. This was not even the worst promo on the show.
On this show?
We'll get to it.
All right.
Balls Mahoney.
That was way better than this.
It was better in a different sort of way. Both of these interview segments were Saturday Night Live parodies of ECW. That's all I can say that
That's
they were.
not a bad way to describe it.
The mysterious vampire faced Al Snow. I hate this man with a passion, and it's probably not his fault, but he does that fucking stunner on the ropes, which is so great, and then just keeps doing moves.
Yep.
Just keeps doing moves.
It's not his finisher. It's not even his setup for a finisher.
He just does
it's
the
just
move.
A move.
In the middle of nowhere, so now it means nothing, and it could have been a great finisher. But that was bad. Then we had Angle cut a promo saying tonight Sabu was going to learn the only thing suicidal about the company was stepping in the ring with Kurt Angle. Boring. Rene Dupree
that
promo
may have been worse.
This was the funniest one yet.
That's close between that and Sabu.
He has a wacky body. He is now an extremist. He ended up, he finished up with a grin, and then he started to look mean, and they cut away. And it was this so bad, so utterly bad. So that was that. Then we had a Big Show promo, which was actually sort of...
It's okay, but it was
fine.
Pointless.
He said
I'm big and I am the champ.
He said he would crush Angle like he crushed crackers for his soup. I don't picture Big Show being a big soup eater.
I never thought about that.
I think he was lying.
They do make like steak soup and potato soup.
The thing about ECW that's so terribly great is that it's Extreme Championship Wrestling, and thus everything is extreme. There's extreme rules. There's the extreme vampire. There's the extreme There's the best one here was Big Show said, "I'm going to give you the extreme truth." Even the truth is extreme.
Of course.
Everything is extreme in ECW.
It wouldn't be ECW if it wasn't extreme.
But it's only extreme in name. The truth, in fact, was not very extreme. And the fact that they're just called the extremists is like...
lame.
It's
lame.
So then we had Sabu and Angle, which was fine. Sabu was being very careful not to kill Kurt Angle. The reverse was not true. Kurt Angle was killing this poor fucker. And Kurt Angle... I don't mean this to be a joke. This is the truth. This will end in tragedy. And there's no simple answer to this question. The problem with the reason it will end in tragedy is because Kurt Angle is going to destroy Kurt Angle. This is not WWE destroying Kurt Angle. This is not ECW. This is Kurt Angle destroying. And what can they do? Fire him? TNA will hire him in an instant.
Yeah.
And if TNA fired him, WWE would hire him back in an instant. And if anybody doesn't believe that, just look at the Jeff Hardy situation. Jeff Hardy got fired from WWE, and TNA brought him in. And he no-showed TNA's December pay-per-view. He was fucked up at a bunch of indie events, and WWE just hired him back up. They'll just hire anybody.
Pretty much, yeah.
And it's really, it's in the hands of the talent. Some of the talent, when given the opportunity to clean up, will. And Angle is just going to push himself and push himself and push himself until he can push himself no more. And that is how this story will end.
That sucks.
How else would it end?
I don't know.
He's going to retire willfully?
No, it's this is the guy who in an amateur wrestling match chose to intentionally land on his head rather than go to his back.
Yes.
He's quite comfortable destroying himself.
What, is the entire business going to blackball him? That ain't going to happen. No. There is no ending to this. He will never pull out. He will never stop himself from being in the ring until he cannot be in the ring anymore. And in order to not get Kurt Angle in the ring, some tragedy will have to occur. Because he's in the ring with a broken neck, an atrophied body, and God knows what else, and he still keeps getting in there. He will never stop, and he cannot be stopped.
Yeah.
And if anybody has a solution, I would love to hear it. And just if anybody thinks that there could be a different ending, I would like to hear what the different ending could be, because I cannot think of one. I cannot think of a different ending to what will happen to Kurt Angle, and it's very sad, but it's inevitable. And I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
Unless you sign him and then just don't use him, and even then, I'm done.
Why don't you finish talking about the match then, Vince?
Well, the highlight of the match, it was fine. Like we said, parts of it were very good, parts of it were slow, and the fans were kind of into it for a while. The ring was over mic tonight, and we heard them calling spots all night long. And
I don't know if it was over mic or they were just loud.
Or Kurt may have just been shouting. I heard him a lot. It was not a big deal, but there was one point where he grabbed Sabu and he hit a German suplex, and he rolled over and he rolled through, and they got to their feet, and he went for another one, and he said, "Okay, flip over," and I cringed. I thought someone was going to die for sure, but Sabu threw himself over and kind of flipped all the way over on his side.
Yeah, he threw him over in the exact same way he went over when he broke his neck.
Yeah, it was bad. But no one died tonight, so that's good.
Then we watched, what else did we watch tonight? ECW. This must be discussed in great detail, great length. I was doing the update today, and I was talking about the SummerSlam pay-per-view, and I noted that the main event was Sabu versus Big Show, coming off the three-way at the ECW TV show, because I didn't even read the spoilers. I didn't even know that Kurt Angle was taken out of the match. Tells you how closely I follow the business these days. I got other important things on my mind, Vince. I got a match to prepare for.
That's right.
Let's be serious here. And I'd like to note, to digress again, and I know everybody's fine today with the digressions because the most active forum all night was the Bryan versus Vinny forum. Nobody gave a shit about any of the other
No, none of these shows that were on TV.
No. So I'm gonna talk more about the big fight coming up. Today was a day, Vince, and this is bad news for you. Actually, everything about this is bad news for you because you're you. Today was the day that I really turned the corner as far as training. Yeah. I just want to say that this match, you were talking in a thread about how you weren't doing this for the money. Or no, how we were doing this for the money.
Yeah.
We're greedy, you said. We're doing this. Would you do this for free? And the answer to that question, and I don't want everyone to ask for their money back because you ain't getting it. But the answer is yes, I would have done this for free.
Wow.
And I'll tell you why. There's 3 reasons. And I hope I remember all of them because I had cut this promo several times. I was running up a fucking hill today. 3 reasons are, number 1, we've got a fitness forum on the board.
Yeah.
And I dispense a lot of fitness advice. And one thing that I don't want is to be full of shit.
That's true.
And I realize it's a strange thing to say as a person that is in the wrestling business and has followed the wrestling business for the last 11 years. But I really want to avoid that in my life. And there are certain people in the wrestling business where everybody knows they're full of shit. They're all over the place.
Most people in the wrestling business.
And really, I don't care. I don't care if anybody... There was a big poll on the board today about what's the best newsletter, and obviously the Observer was far in the lead. That's totally fine. I don't care. I just don't want to be remembered. I don't want people to look back and go, you know, Bryan was full of shit. So I want to get in goddamn great shape for this fucking fake match.
Yes.
So that at least when I'm dispensing a little bit of fitness advice, at least a dude in shape is doing it. Because my pet peeve is personal trainers giving advice to folks at Gold's Gym, and you know the dudes are just jacked to the gills, and they have no fucking idea what they're doing, and they're teaching a fat guy who's never worked out in his life how to look like them. That's a guy that's full of shit. And I don't want to be that guy.
I see.
That's number one.
Okay.
Number two, that hair match. We've joked about this for 2.5 years or whatever now. I still have nightmares about that match. To this day, I'm still just scarred.
I was going to say, the scars are not
and
the wounds have not healed.
I realize I'm smiling when I say that, and I'm sort of cackling about it. And everybody probably thinks that there's some sort of joke. I'm dead serious. This is a moment in my life. A lot of people look back and go, I have no regrets. And I really
You have one.
I want to be one of those people that can say, I've got no regrets. I've done stupid things. I've said stupid things. I've gotten stupid arguments about Diva Search contests. But really, that is a black mark on my soul, that hair match.
Yeah.
That hair match did enough. And really, swear to God, that's why it all ended.
Without question.
That was when wrestling officially stopped being fun for me. I was like, because I put so much into it. Mm-hmm. I put so much into it, and the other key is all my friends were there, my family was there. This was the first match that everybody showed up to, and that's what happened.
Yeah.
That fucking match.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember when that match was over, I stopped working out.
You did.
I stopped watching my diet. I stopped training. I lazed around. I lost it. It was done. Officially fucking finished. And ever since then, as much as I said I'll never wrestle again, I always knew that I would have at least one more match because I have this need to redeem myself for that performance with you.
I was going to say, of all the people on Earth, you picked the guy you had the shitty match with.
I have to have a good match with you, Vince. If not, I don't know what I'm going to do. Hey, everybody's happy now. Life's good. Everybody's laughing at the wacky video. Everybody's having fun. This could all end
Instantly.
I could shut down the website. I could shut down the radio shows, and I could just get a job at Argyle's again.
Where?
Just end it all.
Argyle's?
We've had this discussion before, Vince. Don't make me turn you down. The former Canyons, my first job, Argyle's.
All right.
This could all end. But I think that it will be okay. And the final reason I'm doing this match is because I actually want an excuse to get into very, very good shape. Today, there's a big hill out there. You know that hill you drive up every day?
There's a large hill, yes.
I've been running up and down that hill.
Woo!
And as of yesterday, I could run up and down the hill 5 times. And at the end of the 5th time, I had to take a break. And then I would run a mile up that road and take a break. And then I would run a mile back. And today, I got on the top of that hill and I walked to the bottom because I always start at the bottom. And I was halfway up the hill and I was like, what the fuck am I doing? I'm sick of training. I don't want to do this anymore. I just want to take a break. Am I burned out? And I got to the top of the hill and I started running back down the hill. And as I was almost at the bottom of the hill, I realized I'm recovered. And I ran back up the hill and I ran back down the hill. And midway through number 4, I thought, I can do 6. And I ran down the hill, and I made it all the way up for number 6 to where I normally stop, and I kept going. And I ran all the way down that fucking mile and all the way back, and I didn't stop one time. And then when I got done here at the top of this hill, I walked right up around that little thing one time, and I got back, and I was fine. Yeah. I was so happy, Vince.
Yeah.
I was so happy.
High five.
I'm going to give you a high five. I nearly fell down and wept like Layla when she won the Diva Search.
That's right.
I was like, Jesus Christ.
You're fit.
I felt fit.
You are fit.
So anyway, those are the 3 reasons that I'm doing this match. And I guess since we're on the tangent, why are you doing this match, Vince?
Money.
It's the only reason.
I acknowledge the hair match is a great failure. I have no desire to revisit it. I'm trying. Every time it comes up, I try to think about something else. There can be no redemption. If we have a good match in the rematch, the hair match will still have happened.
It will still have happened, but at least there will be vengeance.
Yeah.
That's what we should call this match.
I think that name was taken.
I don't care.
There's always the possibility.
It's vengeance for our own first performance.
There's always a possibility that this will be worse.
No, it won't. It's impossible.
Yeah,
because you know what? That last match, That last match, I fell into the indie trap that I yell at all indie workers for. There was a plan, and I was hell-bent on sticking to that plan.
That is actually true.
And I have determined this time that there will be no plan. There will be no plan. We are going to call this entire match in the ring, and if it starts to go awry, I will just beat you. Mm-hmm. I will beat you as hard as I possibly can. I will kick you and hit you. I will give you comebacks, and I will just have you kick me and slap me and punch me.
There you go.
And I will die.
But you will die in a 2.5-star classic.
I will die. I will die to redeem the hair match. And it goes totally against everything I bitch at indie workers for, but it is true. Now, hopefully that won't happen. Hopefully we'll just have a very basic, easy match and everything will be fine. But I swear to God, this will be better than the hair match, or I will impale myself on a fucking a post outside of Buddy's immediate area there, and then wrap myself in barbed wire and have you light me on fire.
Okay.
What were we talking about before that rant? How did I get into that?
I don't know.
There was something about ECW.
We didn't talk about anything on ECW.
Oh, Angle getting removed. Somehow this played into this.
Yes.
I don't know how.
We have not yet begun talking about the show.
I don't know how that played into it, but perhaps I'll remember as I'm ranting here. But Kurt Angle was removed from the match, and it was Sabu. Oh, here's a good statement. Our match will be better than Sabu and Rob Van Dam.
God, I hope so.
Or I will kill myself. Period. This match, and I don't like to bury other publications. And every time there's a thread about newsletters on the board and somebody says something horrible about the Torch, someone else has to jump on it and it becomes this wacky thread. And I never get involved. I don't want to bury anybody or anything like that. I just want to take the high road. But I will say that Wade Keller giving this match 3 stars is proof of something. And I don't know what it is. I have no idea what it is, but it's proof of something. He gave this match 3 stars. Vince, this was the worst fucking match I have seen in
a long goddamn time.
Ages.
I can only assume that Wade Keller was in star debt. He owed them extra stars from a previous show and decided to pay them back here.
That could possibly be.
That's the only explanation I have, because this match blew.
This match was so ungodly horrible.
You know, our buddy Craig likes to say, or at least he used to back when we used to talk about the old ECW, and we talk about Rob and Sabu, and he'd always say they were either up here, and he's put his hand up here above his head, or they were down here. He put his hand about his waist. Tonight they were down below Craig's knees.
You'd have to dig a hole. This was so... I don't even have words, except for the usual words. Horrible.
Shitty.
Fucking horrible. Atrocious. Abysmal. Just...
Whoa, that's fucked up.
That's the story of the match.
It was fucked up.
They fucked up everything they tried, virtually. I can't say everything. The very first high spot was, and if you tell me that this was planned, then they're just as stupid as if it was fucked up, because it looked fucked up. Somebody apparently called a springboard drop kick, and I guess it was not specified which guy was going to do it, because they both jumped on the ropes and threw a kick and fell down in a pile and looked like worse than backyarders.
That is actually the best explanation for what I saw. Because that was fucked up so badly, I didn't even know what they were attempting.
Yeah, but
they were attempting to do a simultaneous springboard dropkick.
They both tried this springboard dropkick and fell on their ass. It was a ladder match, by the way, and they had a contract hanging above the ring. So Rob Van Dam goes up top, and then Sabu's supposed to do a springboard something or other, probably a Hurricane Run or something like that. Sabu jumps on the rope, slips and crotches him, and falls down. So Rob Van Dam is still sitting on the top rope, and he has to figure out something to do. So what he does is he stands up and he jumps in the air. He tried to jump up and grab the contract. He missed by about, seriously, 8 feet, minimum. Perhaps as many as 15 feet. Fell down in a heap, and that made him look even more stupid, because he could have been on a trampoline, and he would not have reached that belt. So he looks like a total moron, and everybody chanted, "You fucked up." And then it was just one botched, absurdly contrived spot after another. Some of the stuff they did was so ridiculous. It was like Rob Van Dam was going to do the Rolling Thunder, but Sabu moved, so he did a monkey flip with the ladder, which bonked into Sabu, and just, it was so bad. And finally, Big Show ran in and asked for the contract to be lowered, and Sabu jumped on his shoulders, and Big Show went to powerbomb him, walking him away from the contract, and then just decided to start walking backwards. And Sabu grabbed the contract, and Big Show just went, grrr, and that was the end. And I don't have words.
The end of the show.
This was so much not a 3-star match. It was not even in the positive stars.
No, hell no.
Maybe
when you told me,
maybe I'll give Wade the benefit of the doubt, and he forgot to put the minus.
Yes, when you told me it was 3 stars, I assumed there was a negative sign in front of it. This was very bad. And the end of the show with Sabu and Rob lying around and Big Show huffing off. You've never seen a quieter arena at the end of a show. You've never seen more people running out of a building.
Yes, running to leave.
This was the low point, perhaps in the history of ECW, actually. Certainly in the revival. It was bad.
It was terrible. They had... I'll get to the best part of the show last. There was one redeeming moment on this show. CM Punk faced Justin Credible. There were also some botched spots in here. And it was not good, but not horrible. And these two look like Flair and Steamboat after the main event, so there you go.
It was a bad match, kind of somewhat saved by the last about 15 seconds.
Yeah, actually...
Punk's finishing sequence is just really cool. The knee and the high kick and the you're knocking the choke, and it was all good. Up to that point, nothing to get excited about.
I actually wrote the exact words, finish saved this one.
Yeah.
Pros. Then we had Rob Van Dam doing a promo sitting on top of a ladder, which was so
atrocious.
Corny.
Yeah.
For about 15 different reasons. We had Sylvan doing a photo shoot in white trunks.
Who?
Or I wrote Sylvan.
Wrong Frenchman.
The other idiot. Rene Dupree.
Yes.
In white trunks, which I assure you neither myself or Vinny will be wearing in the big battle. Rene Dupree was doing a photo. Okay. And, yep, he said he was going to prove he was the most hardcore man in the company, which indicates porn or something.
I don't know.
Then we had Tony Mamaluke and Little Guido versus Test and Mike Knox. Mamaluke and Guido combined may have equaled one Mike Knox. Bad match, but at least was short. There's just really nothing to it. Yeah. And Angle attacked Heyman, the Bashams. Show put him in front face lock. They handcuffed him. And I think Angle worked harder in this segment than he would have in the ladder match. So
you'd like to think so.
Yeah. And the funniest part of this, by the way, was... Is he's on the ground, on his stomach, face down, and they're handcuffing him. About 18 different cops and security, Big Show, everybody. Angle stands up, and Big Show nonchalantly reaches down with a big smile on his face and puts the metal around Kurt Angle's neck. And I thought that was the most awesome thing I've ever seen. And then as Angle is being dragged away, Show screams, "I wanted press charges on him. That's assault." He suddenly got mad again. And I was like, why are you so mad? You were just joking around and having fun, and now you're mad? One of these things did not fit, and it was Show yelling, because the metal thing surely fit. So we had the best segment on the show, which was actually the opener. Foley came out, buried Ric Flair for a while, and then he called Melina into the ring and Kelly, and he said that he'd promised to do something that had never been seen in wrestling before, and that was a 3-way dance with Kelly and Melina, which was... all three of them actually dancing. And it was seriously the greatest thing. The Foley Flair thing where they were screaming at each other that I said was one of the great moments in wrestling history, that was better than this. But only by a little. Mick Foley fucking dancing with these two girls. I don't even have words for it. I just watched it and I thought this saved the whole segment because the segment wasn't much before that.
No.
This was awesome. Best moment of the new ECW, by far.
No, Zombie.
No, this was better than Zombie.
Oh, fuck no, this isn't even close to the Zombie.
Zombie was a one-hit wonder. Foley dancing with these two girls, watching Foley dance, that's comedy.
I vehemently disagree.
I know we're going to have a poll, and I know everyone's going to vote for you, and I don't give a shit, but yeah, this was awesome. And Flair ran in and beat him up and set up the pay-per-view on Sunday, so here you go, kids.
That was ECW. Thumbs down for ECW.